In the White House, President Eisenhower signs the proclamation that makes Alaska's entry into the Union official, nearly 92 years after Lincoln's Secretary of State bought the territory from the Russian Tsar for $7 million.
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
The Bait Shack, located on Ship Creek upstream of the bridge. Can't miss the bright red shack. They're the go-to fishing gear rental and guide service on Ship Creek. Tight lines and fish on. Come hook into the action with them. Hit them up at thebaitshackak.com.
Lawn Pro AK, your year-round professional property maintenance company, providing services such as weekly lawn maintenance, driveway sweeping, snow and ice management, and tons more. Get your free estimate today at lawnproak.com.
Anchortown Dogs, located at 4th Avenue across from the old 4th Avenue Theater. Look for the blue and gold umbrella. From reindeer dogs to bomb euros, they've got you covered. Anchortown Dogs, your local gourmet hot dog and sausage cart.
Menegato's Accounting, locally owned and operated advisory and tax accounting solutions. Passion, experience, diligence. Learn more at menegatosaccounting.com.
Double Shovel Cider Company, located off Arctic and 58th. Handcrafted Alaskan-made cider. They also have a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Check them out at doubleshovelcider.com.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has their new tequila bar. Check it out. Also see their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska, built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation. Find their products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more at the Treehouse AK and other dispensaries around the state. Ask your local bud tender about AKO.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway. Your all-in-one cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives.
Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with the consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Oh, that was aggressive.
Lots of booze coming in hot.
Very much prepared for that one.
Spilled all over my phone there. Wow.
Going off the grid?
Off the grid.
Oh, you know what? Oh my gosh, dude. Dang, I didn't even think about, you were like, hey, watch out for that can. It'll foam on you. I was just like, didn't have my mouth closed like you said. I was not ready.
Oh, the secondary fermentation going on?
Yeah, I was not in line with that. I was fully taking a chance.
Well, welcome to another Alaska Wild Project podcast, episode number 15. We have a very special guest with us today. Before we get into that, though, just really quick, the Patreon / Alaska Wild Project, Heather's Choice, promo code Alaska Wild, Dudes Day, June 19th, Saturday, 12 to 6. Come anytime. We'll be doing a live podcast. Come look for something for your dad, your brother, your uncle.
At Double Shovel.
At Double Shovel, yep. Arctic and 58th. You can't miss it. You're going to go back there. You're going to see cars lined all up and down the street.
What are you doing, that noon to 6?
Noon to 6.
Noon to 6. Mm-hmm.
Noon to 6. We'll be there early getting it ready. So if you're looking to buy any of our merch, we're going to have all of our stuff out there. Double Shovel will have all their stuff. Local Greens will be doing the tours in there. I'd run down the list of all the people that are coming, but we got a special guest that I really want to get to right away today. Do we have any highlights that we want to talk about pre-hand?
I always wanted to say something about this picture of this handsome bearded gentleman. Shirtless with some Grundings and some shrimp, dude. Look at this guy.
It's a Guy Cotton, Bibbs. Come on, give us some credit.
Oh, my bad.
Is that your skiff?
Well, let's just get into it. I want to welcome Ira Edwards to the podcast, man. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm stoked. Knew Jack for a while and talked about outdoorsy food. He likes every single one of my food pictures.
That's right. You're getting after it with Alaska stuff. You can't, you go harvest this stuff and let's eat it. Let's make it cool and add some culture to it.
Jack, let's get a little history on Ira really quick.
I think I can only just touch the. I mean,
Let's skim the top of the iceberg.
Yeah, just skim the top
How
off.
you met me or why you met me.
So we met Ira because we started a cidery, and Ira is pretty much interested in anything cultural or cool, and especially if it has to do with outdoor stuff or food stuff or
booze.
Booze. Yeah, booze. Subsistence. Subsiding
There
off
you
our environment. And so I think right when we started posting about the cidery, Jerry's like, oh, this dude Ira contacted us. We should get with him. And he had just won that cider competition, right?
A couple years before you guys started up, I got second place in the nation in apple cider. So it was judged at a contest in Boston, and I was announced as Ira Edwards from Anchorage, Arkansas, because you can't grow apples in Alaska, and AK must mean Arkansas.
Yeah, so I think it went from there to just Jerry and you nerded out a lot, and then I was on the slope at the time, and then we started doing the community presses over at Double Shovel with your press and making cider.
Yeah, so I met Jerry because one of his coworkers in the well world, you guys were all well engineers apparently.
Yeah, that's right.
Knew that I made booze, and he's like, "Do you know anything about apples?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know a little bit." Hey, these guys are going to start a cidery.
Yeah, who was that?
It was a guy I skied with, and he doesn't really ski much anymore, but he works with Jerry, or he used to work with Jerry.
Okay.
He's not here anymore. So,
Okay.
Anyway, so just randomly do that. I've grown apples for 20 years, grafted apples, and have tried a lot of ciders that are all too sweet. You guys don't make sweet ones, which is great.
Yeah, colonial style, baby.
Colonial style.
Yeah.
So Ira Edwards was voted the Chives most interesting man in the world. In what year was this?
Last year. It wasn't really a year. It's just in
general.
It's like
they don't do a yearly. You are just the interesting man in the world
He's
to
the
the Chive.
real life most interesting man.
I am not Jonathan Goldsmith from Dos Equis. I am
the real life one.
They sent him to Mars. I tried to be his replacement. Didn't work out. So.
Okay.
You kind of look like him in the
You
photo.
made a nice photo, though. You look
damn.
really good. Yeah.
I did not get to bring home the models with me.
Oh, that didn't come with the package? Like, yeah, no, we don't send
If you want to find Ira, it's Rooster Skier on Instagram.
Or Rooster_Skier on Twitter, or I don't let anyone see my Facebook.
I want to get in. I want to start with the Chive thing because it seems like that's the launch. I'm sure you're doing so much cool stuff already, but that's just like one of those highlights that I really want to touch on first. How did you even get in contact with this? Was this a competition? Walk us through how that happened.
So I do a lot of fundraising work with a foundation called the High Fives Foundation. They're out of Reno. And I knew them before I got hurt and helped them with some fundraising and just spreading the word. And then after I got hurt, I was one of their very first athletes. And they do a lot of stuff to help out people with disabilities to get back into the active sports world. And I have been in active sports most of my life and have been professionally in active sports for the last 25 years. And so they told me, hey, there's this little grant for disabled law enforcement. In my real life, I was a law enforcement officer for the state when I got hurt.
State troopers, Ira?
I went through the Trooper Academy, and then I went and was a state park ranger when I got hurt.
Okay.
Which is also law enforcement.
Of
we
course,
didn't really actually mention this, but I'm paralyzed and in a wheelchair.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
So this foundation that helps out people with disabilities in active sports only, they said, hey, there's this nonprofit at the Chive, and the Chive is this really cool website that everyone under 50 knows about, I think.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the people in bikinis. They have guys in mankinis too. They just don't market that to people that are male, apparently.
Oh, I didn't know.
Do they have a nickname like the Chivettes? Like the guys?
Chivers are the males.
The Chivers are the males?
Chivers?
Chivettes are the ladies. Apparently they are able to look at whatever gender you identify with somehow. And they have ways of marketing pictures of girls to guys and pictures of guys to girls.
Oh, that's
They do a great job with that as well.
They do.
I had to delete
Keep
it.
calm, Daniel.
And they have they have actual real life news articles and interest pieces as well. And
No, they're legit. Yeah.
So
Credible, very credible.
interviewed for their foundation to get like a $2,000 scholarship. I was going to just get driving controls and harnesses for the side-by-side I got. And they were like, oh, we don't have funding for that this year. So the next year they called me back and said, hey, you should reapply. They gave me an interview, and then the interview went longer, and then it went longer, and then it went longer, and said, can we write an article about you? And here we are.
Nice.
Sweet. Well, you.
So
were
that just
definitely-
was something that came up out of the blue after you going for the other grant thing.
Yeah, and as a part of that, they actually did supply me with a grant. Turns out they had been in cahoots with the High Fives Foundation and didn't tell me about it. But the article was not a part of the grant. So
Really quickly, before we jump back into the injury and how you became paralyzed and all that, I want you to just like do a quick list rundown of all the activities that you do.
in the last year, I have ridden horseback. I've sea kayaked. I just got back from a 3-day canoe float trip on the Little Susitna River. I alpine ski, I cross country ski, I snow machine, I hunt. Now currently out of a side-by-side. I used to do it off of a 4-wheeler because I can't walk. I race marathons. I didn't do it last year because of COVID, and I didn't do it the year before because of the smoke, but I'll be doing some more again.
Yep.
Ride downhill 2-wheeled mountain bikes at Alyeska. They stay upright because you keep rolling. You don't crash, and it works good. Randomly, I scuba dive. I deep sea fish. I do all the fun things.
Shrimp.
I'm just shrimp. I've been a male model in the Alaska Mountain Men of Alaska calendar.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
We gotta
Was
find-
that the picture?
That's the dude's picture in front of the glacier. So.
He's in Grundens,
No,
looking
it's
really
a
good.
guy cotton. Those are much better than Grunders. They're, they're
Yeah, let's get
Kevlar
that.
lined. When you're working on crab boats, they don't get shredded.
All right.
Okay.
Currently, I work for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, but I have had a varied career working as a research biologist for the state, as a land manager for the state, and generally random stuff. That was in between my law enforcement career, which was very, very short before I got hurt.
Wow, that was
a good list.
You getting after it, dude.
That's
Dude.
the basic part. I mean, there's the hunting, fishing, gardening stuff too. So
Yeah.
and charcuterie building.
And smoking, hooligan, salmon, octopus.
Lots of cooked and cured meat.
This guy brings this charcuterie. Man, I can never say that right. Forgive me.
Charcuterie.
I'm so illiterate with that. Yeah, thank you, Jack. Anyway, that thing's Gucci, dude.
So what's in the platter here, Ira?
So tonight, since Jack has liked every single one of my food posts for the last 5 years since I
That's
met
right.
him,
And I don't like a lot of posts, but I like all these.
I just noticed that I have some of my friends' grandparents that like my posts, and then there's Jack.
Like.
I'm going to go eat this
So
food.
I brought some gravlax, like a Swedish salmon lock cured fish, put on crackers with capers. I brought some smoked octopus, and it's not too smoky because it sucks up the smoke really quick. I've made some mistakes in the past. I do not bring shit to my friends, so I brought the good stuff.
It was good.
We have caribou salami, an Italian's fermented salami that I dried for 5 months. We have smoked salmon bellies. Everyone loves bacon. Smoked salted pork bellies. This is smoked salted fish bellies, the best
right.
part of the fish.
Absolutely.
We have some smoked hooligan, which are dried out. So hooligan are candlefish or smelt. Everyone's dip netting for them right now. They'll probably be almost done by the time this podcast comes out.
Yep.
But yeah, they're pretty tasty. Then I have some smoked salmon fillets that I cut into cubes you eat on crackers. I was going to have some Landjäger and some hunter sticks.
Ooh.
While I was off on this canoe trick, I left them out on top of the freezer in a tub. My dog hocked up onto the freezer and ate them, so there are no Landjägers or hunter sticks for you guys.
Wow, and we'll put a picture of this too. I mean, I want to say that this is probably one of the episodes that people are going to want to watch on YouTube because we're going to show a lot of pictures and a lot of things from Ira's page because he's just so into so much badass shit. It's like you got to see it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, this guy's disabled, and he's doing like 10 times more shit than I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I don't even.
I do not identify with disabled people. I just am less abled.
Less able. I like it. I like it. Well, and I mean, I just wanted to be respectful in that comment and say, like, damn.
I have no shame. Whatever.
Yeah. I could tell in the first 2 minutes when we walked in the door and you were sitting here with that platter, I was like, okay, all right, this guy, he showed up. He's going to be real. So.
That's and you caught all this stuff. You didn't just cook it. You didn't just go to the store and buy it.
Harvested.
I did not harvest the capers. I do make capers out of nasturtium seeds. You can really
No capers, huh? That's
pickled
crap.
nasturtium seeds are awesome. You can make
Really?
capers and you can grind them for relish. I'm out, so I bought real capers.
Okay.
So out of everything you brought, the capers were from Fred Meyer's or Cars. Or
I can live with that. And what about the olives? Did you do the olives or? Oh,
They don't grow in Alaska. So
I know. I was just like, man, all this other stuff. Did you somehow? I wouldn't be surprised if you.
He's
like,
growing olives
figured
in
out-
his crawl
Yeah,
space.
something like that.
My
Yeah.
uncle in Southern California has olives. They're not these kind of olives, but
Okay.
I probably
Well.
also would have to ferment them.
We'll give
and
you a
rot
pass
them,
on
and they put them
olives.
in lye. And it's processing olives is really. You were surprised you ever eat olives.
Yeah, there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting about the platter that I wouldn't have expected, but the first thing to go was the hooligan.
Oh, the hooligan.
That's the fish that most people think are gross and hate. I like hooligan. It's pretty tasty. And if you do it right, it's palatable.
Yeah.
If you do it wrong, it's slimy and gross. It's also good for
Oh,
bait
true.
because of that. A lot of people think it's gross, so I use it in my shrimp bait too. So.
Yeah. That would be
Well, I've
good
only
for
eaten
shrimp
it that way, and then growing up, we used to really do it. As a lot of ethnic families probably go hooligan, and we did it a lot, and we would fry them whole and just eat it like that with lemon.
So this is whole. There's no, it's not gutted or skinned or anything. But
Best
you
way.
can also like cornmeal it and pan fry it. It's pretty good that way too.
bait. How did you prep it here?
I snip the anus so it can get brine inside and juice, blood and juice drains out. You take a little nick in there, and
You give it the old.
no fun times.
Bring it back to baby days.
And then you brine it in a bucket of salt water, just like pure rock salt until it can't dissolve anymore for like 4 hours. And then I hang it to dry. You can either hang it to dry in racks, like on the little big Chief smokers, or
Yeah.
one of my smokers, I have a thing where I made a board with a bunch of nails, and you just hang it from the eyeballs, because eyeballs are attached to the skull, which is attached to the spine, which holds the fish up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, when you smoke things fall apart.
Oh, so you tag it right through the eyes.
Yeah, it still stays upright and holds together if you smoke it through the eyeballs. If you hang it anywhere else, it'll fall apart.
Yeah.
So those fish that don't have good heads left, I put flat on trays and do the trays in the little Chief,
Okay.
big Chief.
Nice.
That must be you have a picture of that up there? That must be a board of hooligans. Like,
I don't have a picture of my
wall?
hooligan smoking because my friend, I caught some last year and put them in a shrimp bait, and then my friend dropped off 2 5-gallon buckets at midnight one day, and when they're there, you got to deal with them then. You don't
Yeah.
let fish rot. You got to
Yeah.
start.
no,
that's
no.
right.
At midnight on a Wednesday, I started assaulting fish.
Yeah.
Because they get mushy quick, right? Yeah, because they're soft.
They're one of the highest oil content fish of anything out there. They
That's
call
what makes
them
them so tasty, man.
candlefish. You can like take my fish and burn them like a candle.
Yeah.
Please don't. It's probably a fire. I don't see any fire alarms here. So.
So we talked
this room.
a lot about the shrimp bait, but how do you prepare your shrimp then when you bring them home?
Shrimp have an enzyme in their carapace, the front part, the shell, that will turn them mushy within hours of death. So you need to remove the front of the body from the tails. Everyone pops tails.
Yep.
That's how you do it. Generally, shrimp are also kind of spiny, so they don't vacuum bag really well. So I found a trick. I just make an envelope out of freezer paper, put that in there, and I can put a pound of shrimp in each vacuum bag and seal them. And they last for forever. So.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can buy these special styrofoam trays, these plastic covers, and whatever. I just make an envelope out of freezer paper and call it
I've
good.
heard people Ziploc bag them in salt water and then freeze them solid.
You can do it that way, or freeze them in Rubbermaid tubs
that's
or
what
the
I do.
Ziploc tubs, but they don't come out as firm if they're in water.
Yeah, because they get saturated. Or just
well,
like
the
you-
defrosting
they're
process
waterlogged.
too, when they're in that block like
Yeah.
that, you're
Oh,
probably gonna soak
yeah.
water as that defrosts.
Yeah, and this,
Yeah,
you
get-
just got to use seawater if you're doing
mushy.
it that way.
Yeah.
But
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
if you do seawater, it doesn't freeze as fast and thaws out a little sooner, but they still get a little mushy. I mean, you keep your salmon fillets, you don't keep them in water.
Yeah.
Same concept.
Right.
So mine are rinsed, patted dry. I just run them on a towel real quick, and then the towel gets in the dishwasher, and then I vacuum bag them.
You
And,
have any special cooking techniques?
Yes. It's called anywhere between raw and putting to gumbo. So there's a lot of ways. I do a lot of Cajun cooking. It is my favorite cuisine.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Gotta get after it.
Shrimp stock is the best stock for Cajun cooking.
Ooh, right on.
Yeah.
And I make a good roux.
I bet your roux is good. Man, who had
old
the other
buckaroo.
Joe, right?
Joe Hagedis.
Joe Hagedis has a
we
pretty
should
good
have
one.
an Ira Joe cook-off. That would be
yeah.
a fun
Maybe
day.
some shrimp etouffee or Cajun gumbo. I make probably 3/4 of my sausage I make out of my wild animals is andouille sausage, which is like used in every Cajun dish imaginable.
ever. Yeah.
Right.
What makes it the andouille? A certain spice?
It's got a lot. You wouldn't want to eat it normally. It's way too flavorful and salty, but
Okay.
it seasons every dish you put it into.
Yeah, it cooks,
It's
cooks
like
into the flavors.
it's like pre-made seasoning.
Got
with
it.
tasty meat and fat. So
for the slow simmer.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Man, you're making me hungry and we just ate.
So what
I think I'm here because of the food. Come on.
Yeah, no, that's
So
for sure.
I saw you made your own pastrami this year.
Last year's bear I made into pastrami. I've made pastrami out of bison brisket and moose brisket. It's thick enough. You basically use flank steak, but I just took a piece of meat and made it out of the bear. It's super tasty. You just make corned beef, which is basically a salt cure and salt and rock salt. They call it corned beef because of the rock salt corns.
Yeah.
And some pickling spices. And then, so pastrami is smoked corned beef. So anyone that likes St. Patrick's Day, you can also get corned beef at St. Patrick's Day, and they can't get it any other time of year.
Yeah.
So you can either buy extra, or you can make a lot of corned beef. And you smoke it, and then you steam it, and then it's pastrami. And I have a meat slicer, so it's awesome.
What piece of the bear did you use? Like a ham?
It
or-
was a part off the ass.
Yeah.
I just found a piece of meat that was about 2 inches thick and about 6 or 8 inches wide, and enough you could put through the slicer. And pastrami is the best sandwich meat ever.
Dude.
And some people use corned beef in the Reubens. Pastrami is so much better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got that right. Remember that? Was it last week? I brought that that black bear pastrami in. I had it all sliced up.
Yeah, that was good.
So I had another piece, and it was thawed out. So I sliced it up and I brought it to work, put it in the fridge, forgot, didn't share it with anybody. Saturday, I woke up and I was like, "Oh, that pastrami! I'm not about to let that go bad."
It's
the
cured.
last
It's
piece
going to
got.
be okay for a few days.
Yeah,
So-
I knew that if I didn't go get it right now, like I was just gonna forget for like 2 weeks and it was gonna be in the work fridge. So I ran over and got it and then brought it home. And for 2 days in a row, Rena made me grilled
cheese.
grilled
pastrami?
cheese with the pastrami with that meat. Dude.
That was good because that was so salty and good.
Yeah, it's too salty. I'm good with it, but for anybody that's got even a little bit of a palate that's it's too salty. It's like,
that's fine.
I have a
a
lot
little
of
bit of
friends
a
and
punch.
family that love salt, and I think salt is better in moderation. So in salted foods, you have to salt it to preserve it. You can overdo it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one was overdone, and it was a bit much in the grilled cheese with even cheese is salty too, right?
Yeah.
But it was, I didn't care. My heart was
good.
like, while I'm eating it. Quit taking a bite.
So was that the bison pastrami from the Delta bison you
I
got?
got a tag a few years ago out in Delta.
I
I'm
got
not
a
going to
picture
say
of this. Look
I'm
at
not
this
going to
thing.
say that I didn't put in for 33 years in a row, but I got it on the 33 years, so 32 years of failing. My parents put in when I was like 9 and 10, and then when I was 12, I started having a job, and I was told to put in on my own money because they weren't going to waste $10 a year on something I'll never get.
You got a big bowl too, didn't you?
I saw a big bull every single day, but it was
Is
not.
that a cow?
No, I got it. That's a 4.5-year-old bull, so it
Okay.
goes 750 pounds of meat. It was a good size.
Yeah,
it
'cause
wasn't.
the horns are tall. That's
But
why
the bull was that I was hoping to get for the 5 days I saw it was literally a shoulder above this guy.
Oh, so you had your eye on a different
monster.
one.
Yeah, we're gonna upload a picture here in just a second. But yeah, you got to do the ethical hunting thing. You can't shoot if there's something behind it. There's 4 rules of gun safety: keep your finger off the trigger, till you're ready to shoot. Your guns are always loaded. Beware of your surroundings from behind, and then
muzzle control.
muzzle control. Don't cover anything you don't want to shoot. And there was always an animal behind this big guy, and it just never worked out. But choices. I made the good choice, and I got meat. And
Yeah, you did.
if we can screen share, maybe we'll screen share. Maybe it'll let me. Maybe it won't.
And that was with
Might
Kurt.
need to disconnect.
Oh, you might need to disconnect.
Yeah. My friend Kurt Ensminger, one of you guys. You guys are.
I worked with Kurt.
Slipper friends with him.
Yeah.
So he and I went to high school together.
Oh,
so
okay.
I've taken random other friends out hunting because being in a wheelchair, I can do a lot, but I'm not superhuman. Even though social media makes it look that way, it's not. It's not quite as cool as it sounds. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, honestly. So.
Let's go back to a little bit as we look up for the picture of you growing up.
Yeah, I disconnected Ira, so you can jump on
I
there.
saw in there that you grew up in Palmer.
So I saw this buddy. This is the guy I saw 5 days in a row, and there was always somebody behind him.
Look at that thing.
And my guy's head went up to his shoulder.
Oh, okay.
And I got 750 pounds meat. So, sorry, but to backtrack, but yes, I grew up in Palmer, and I'll be moving back there next month. I'm pretty stoked.
Dude, you got to look at this picture of
This
this.
thing's a stud, man.
It's a monster.
So I am taking this
stoic.
behind a hay bale from my iPhone. I probably could have done it archery if I wanted.
Oh, you're that close to him?
This is from my iPhone, and Kurt was sitting there with me. We drove my truck behind a hay bale and took pictures. Out my truck window. So, never had a clear
that
shot
thing.
ever at him. Never a
My
clear
goodness.
shot.
Look at the look at the
not
afro
good.
on that guy.
Yeah,
that says
man.
it all, man. And his nose.
He looks pretty stoic.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
does.
he's a beast.
He does.
But I was happy with my guy. He was a 4.5-year-old guy.
Probably made a really good eating bison at
It's
that age.
almost a king size rug. I haven't gotten it tanned yet, but I stretched it out. It'll be that. It'll be able to cover my bed. It won't be a drape over the sides, but it'll cover the top of my bed
Oh, that's what you did as a full rug on it.
once I get it tanned.
Yeah.
It's like
What'd you do with the skull?
it's still sitting in my garage, but I
Is
have
it-
a place to hang it in my new house, so
Is it like cleaned up and boiled and all that?
it's cleaned up. We're working on it.
We got a guy right here.
Just in case you
Are
need somebody to finish
Are
it.
you a
know?
beetle guy?
No, but I boil it and clean it and.
I know how to
scrape it and
steam
do the
stuff.
whole
I worked for a tax center for 7 years.
You
when I
want
was
a beetle
so-
guy? You want to do a beetle?
I would love to do a beetle thing. The problem is with horns, you got to remove the horns first because horns are made out of protein and they'll eat the horns.
Yeah, that's why I prefer to just boil because I can control what happens to it.
Yeah, and the steaming is the way to go.
Yeah,
You simmer it
So I
instead
learned.
of boiling it. So
Yeah, I learned that about doing moose because I can't fit a moose in the trash can that I use to boil. So you got to put like tinfoil and towels over the top, so the water steams up, gets the towel hot, and then the foil keeps the heat in, and that will help get the meat off the top of the skull.
yes, boiling helps dissolve ligaments that hold your skull together. So
Yeah, you got to be careful. Yeah,
maybe I made a lot of mistakes when I was a kid, but
that's
you know,
why they make Gorilla Glue, man.
I thought it was for your hair.
Well, I don't have any.
Well,
of
there's
that.
a lot of beetle.
Well,
people
Ira,
doing
just in
beetles.
case you got a lot of other things going on, I'm in the game.
it's
so.
never been a priority yet because, but now I have a spot to put it. I got a nice caribou last year.
I'd be
so
proud to do it for you, for the record. So if you're
okay.
interested,
Well, I will send you some pictures, and it's not disgusting. It's all scraped and dried
even
out.
if you just made it easy for me.
You
so.
just gotta soak it in a bag of water and let it rot for a little bit. Then all the horns will fall off real easy. So
Yeah,
I'll let you put on the gas mask.
I'm not scared.
Okay, not that we've done these things.
I've got
before,
4
so.
rotten moose skulls in the backyard on a canoe right now, and I had a barbecue this weekend. My mom's over. She's like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" She's over here trying to grill tenderloins, and there's just rotten skulls over there 20 yards away. I keep getting whiffs of it. I'm like, well, no, I mean, it's my backyard. I don't know what to tell you.
Mother's Day.
I was, hey, came to my house.
But yeah, I know Jack because of this kind of stuff. So
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
that's like
Oh, wow.
one evening of picking. Last year we picked 16,000 pounds of apples, so that was a small amount.
So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 laundry baskets full of apples.
Each of those are about 60 pounds, 70 pounds. That's one evening, and usually we pick till dark. It's obviously not dark in this picture, so we went out for a second run.
And these apples are from where? I mean, I know they're from
Secret
here,
locations.
but okay. These are private properties, or
I have 12 on my own trees, which currently don't belong to me because I sold my house. The new owners are letting me rent it back for a while, but they're soon to be their apple trees as soon as they fruit. But yeah, I have a large variety of apples. I can pick around acreage, and I usually used to pick every apple. And now I pick the apples that are good for cider.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There's
the way to
specific
do it.
apples that are better for cider than
Yeah,
some are
generally,
sweet, some are bitter.
You want to have the bitter or bittersweet because you can always get sugar from whatever you do. Everything up here is sour because we just generally don't have enough. So you want something that's not quite as sour and has a lot of tannins. And tannins are like what makes wine dry tasting. Like a Chardonnay is kind of dry tasting. Red wine is pretty dry because it's got the tannins from the skins. We generally want the tannins to help make your cider a little sharper and not quite as sour or
more balanced.
And I am also on top of my wheelchair. I'm also a type 1 diabetic. So I prefer that the yeast have my sugar instead of me.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, there you go.
Drier the better. Yeah, you get that carpet
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
on your tongue.
I noticed that.
So this place out in the Palmer, tell us about that.
I got a job working out in the valley, and I will be moving out there hopefully in the next month.
So you're doing the reverse commute?
Yeah, it's mostly working from home. I mean, technology is wonderful this last year, and
true.
everyone's bosses are more accepting of that concept because we weren't allowed to see each other for a year.
Yep.
So I've been out there 3 days a week. The deal with a lot of hard science and research is that a lot of things are on paper still. Not everything's been scanned and digitized. And I am not currently doing this because the soil staff are currently out getting ready to go out in the woods and the sticks and dig pits and look at what dirt is out there. But we have like a photon spectrometer. We have an infrared scanner to look at soil to see what's actually in it. So that's like hands-on stuff. So then we take that hands-on data and I will be putting that into maps and put it on the web for everyone to see if a agriculture project is worthwhile or an industrial project is going to have the right kind of soil to develop land or whatever.
Wow,
Our goal is to map all the soil in the United States, and I'm responsible for Alaska.
Sweet.
Alaska's a little bit farther behind the rest of the United States in our infrastructure, so we have a bigger,
Job security,
bigger project than most people have because it's kind of hard to get around, and there's still probably parts of Alaska people have never set foot on.
You think so?
I think so. I do too. Rafted the Noatak River the entire way, and I've seen rotten, rusty cans from 40 years beforehand.
Yep.
In the middle of nowhere. So I think there's been a lot of people, a lot of places. There's still probably places you haven't set foot on. And down in the States, not possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not. Really quick, we want to give a shout out to the Treehouse AK, your one-stop dispensary located at 341 Boniface Parkway. Be sure to ask the bud tender about their deal of the day because honestly, there's always something good on deck. And guys, listen, this is where the culture lives. At the Treehouse, their dedication to servicing consumers has been developed through a lifetime of involvement in the cannabis culture. They're committed to providing the highest quality products at whatever value your budget affords, while always maintaining their deep-rooted principles that have carried them this far. Their focus is on relationships over transactions, and you can always depend on them to treat you with the respect you deserve. Hit them up at thetreehouseak.com. Remember, you must be 21 years of age to enter the store.
Hold on.
So you're telling us about your Palmer place. So you got a house out there and some land. What's going on?
Yeah, so I was looking. I knew this job was coming, and I was willing to work on getting a house and start building it without the job because it took 6 months to get hired. It's just the process of going through the hiring thing. Actually, longer than that, but that's a whole nother story. So I found land. I talked to a bunch of farmers. I had a plan. I was going to build an apple orchard. I mean, I looked for houses to buy. There's nothing wheelchair accessible out anywhere. I mean, there's some in Anchorage, but not really. So I started looking for land, and nobody's willing to sell land at all.
Right.
Because farmers, there's no such thing as too much land. And turns out that my buddy's dad, who I've known since I've been 10, has 100 and something acres and was subdividing 40 acres into a new subdivision. So I got almost 4.5 acres now. Awesome. And building a wheelchair accessible house. The land is all flat from the front to the back. It goes down 7 feet. It's got great drainage, no standing water, currently full of trees, like real wild Alaska trees, soon to become apple trees. But and the well gets me 35 gallons a minute, which is pretty unheard of.
Wow. So you just found a money spot.
And my buddy's dad was willing to sell it to me too, because other people weren't willing to sell land.
Yeah,
I mean, you could buy an acre here, an acre there, but not enough to plant stuff on.
Yeah.
So how big an orchard are you going to go with?
So it's, the house and the yard and all that's probably going to take in a shop. I'm gonna have to build a shop, of course. I bought a Connex
4
now, so I'm
acres.
on my start to survival compound.
We're gonna put a bunch
that's
of
gonna
Heather's choice back in there.
That's gonna take like half an acre to do all that stuff. So, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna have a garden like I've always had. So, I figure 3 acres of trees. But a lot of the smaller commercial orchards are like they got a couple hundred trees. But I figure I can I plotted it out on the computer. I can put 350 trees in 3 acres.
Oh my gosh.
And it will not be a pretty orchard. It will be a productive orchard.
Yeah.
I will not be posting wedding pictures here, but you could,
Yeah.
you could wander through it in apple blossoms and take wedding pictures. There'll be apple blossoms everywhere. This won't be.
Right. It's not going to have these
Places to
defined
stand.
lanes, just
There will
perfect,
be because you
but-
got to drive a tractor between it to harvest.
Oh
so.
yeah, that's
But
that many trees.
but,
Yeah.
but it's going to be nicer, prettier looking trees and not productive small trees.
Oh,
So I
okay.
could probably make this into a moneymaker. I'm going to make this into a retirement project where it's going to be nice to look at. But yet not also a wedding venue. As cool as that would be, because I could make a lot of money on a wedding venue. But
You sure could.
Yeah, you just don't have to do anything. Just be like,
Yeah.
that's
Well, yeah.
$1,200.
but for that 2
Don't touch
weeks
the
in
apples.
June when they're blooming apple blossoms, it'll be kind of pretty. So,
Yeah, well, yeah.
My friend's dad is from Vermont. And he's convinced me to plant sugar maples around the outside of the property. So I will be having hopefully Alaska's first maple syrup production.
What's the property
be
full of
way cool.
now? Spruce and
I have
birch mix?
I have a little bit of aspen, a lot of
Sweet.
birch, some spruce, and a couple cottonwoods, but not too many cottonwoods. So
Nice.
those have roots that send suckers everywhere, and they're hard to get rid of.
Yeah. They are.
But yeah, I will be clearing land, chipping all the trees, clearing all the roots and stumps, and then mulching it all in to let it rot for a year or so. First priority is to build a fence because moose like apples.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
love it. What kind of fence are you
About
gonna
to
do?
ask you about that.
We're gonna find the cheapest way to build an 8-foot tall fence.
Yeah,
We haven't
Yeah.
figured that out yet.
yeah. And then you're gonna
Nothing's cheap.
graft your
No,
own
it's
trees.
I've got about 40 trees already grafted, potentially getting a couple of trees from Double Shovel because they're going to be a semi-business partner in this proposition. And then I'll be buying some commercial trees of the types I want. And then that'll be the first year once I start planting. And then I probably have the next couple of years plant a couple hundred more trees. And that'll be a process.
So it'll be like a decade before you're really pumping apples, probably.
Yeah, I figure with little trees when they're babies, they're little. When you buy a tree at Home Depot, that's a 5-year-old, 6-year-old tree.
Oh.
I will be planting trees that are 1-year-old, which means they're going to be the size of a pencil, maybe.
Yeah.
So they're going to have 10 years. The stuff from Home Depot, maybe 5 years. If I buy some new trees in a year or two, they will be that size. So there'll be a little head start. But my plan is 10 years from now, I will have production. And I can retire in 15-ish years. So by the time I'm retired, I'll have a full orchard.
Perfect timing.
And apples, for all agricultural products, take the least amount of work. You prune them once a year, you water them, you mow the lawn between them. And in a wheelchair, that's a lot less work than weeding a garden. Because full-on farm stuff, I grow my own vegetables. It's a lot of work in a wheelchair.
I bet.
I will not be doing that to sell.
That's for you only.
Yeah.
And then how
Personal use.
about the sugar maples? How long do they take? How big a tree are you gonna get? And
They're like 30 feet spacing, 30 to 50 feet tall. I figure I can get about, rough guess if they grow to production, about 8 to 10,000 gallons a year of sap, and you boil that down to 40 gallons. So I'll have a decent amount of maple syrup. Not really a lot, but
and then are you getting yearling trees of those, or
I will probably be getting yearling trees.
And how
So
long?
approximately the same 15 years.
yeah,
So
yeah, okay.
You sure they'll take?
Reproduce.
no, they grow just fine up here, but nobody really grows them.
Okay.
But also, not that global warming is a thing. There's climate change, not global warming.
Nice.
But in 15 years, if they don't work out, they'll be pretty trees. If it does work out and they grow well, I'll have pretty trees with lots of sap.
That's right.
That's a pretty bad. Go back to that picture right
Yeah.
there. So is this what you got from the Chive?
No, that
No,
is
it's
a
right
foundation
here.
I work
No.
with.
sorry.
I have a 6-wheeler. It's different.
Yeah.
That's a Polaris
Razor.
Razor, the four-seater one. So there's a group down in the States. It's part of the High Fives, their own foundation, but it's associated with the High Fives. It's called Return to Dirt, and their whole purpose is to take people with disabilities and get them outside again. and doing that through motorized sports. So part of what I'm doing is taking people out that have a certain mobility disorder or anything like that. I've taken a couple people that just couldn't walk, just super special needs people out to Kincaid Glacier last year. A really good friend of mine I've known since I've been 7. She's got cerebral palsy. We took her out. She got her first caribou last year.
Cool.
Her dad has shot on proxy lots of caribou for her and moose and things. She got her first caribou last year, so she rode in the wheeler with me. So
That's awesome.
And got to shoot it and the whole 9.
yep, it was.
That's cool.
She was super stoked. I mean, it was a cow,
that's
but you know,
okay.
it was her first animal, and we got 5 caribou for the 3 of us, so it was a lot of meat. So
I bet she was proud.
Is that where the
Totally
sausage
stoked.
came from?
we got our caribou at a chicken on the 40-mile herd last year, and I've shot a lot of caribou in lots of places. It's been 20 years since I hunted the 40-mile. They're pretty good-sized bodies.
Yeah,
I mean,
they are.
Okay.
I put up I ended up with 3 caribou out of the deal. They didn't want one of theirs, and 3 caribou got me 650 pounds of meat,
Wow. Yeah, that's damn.
and 2 of those were cows. So
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah.
Walk us through the process. I mean, obviously you go from the wheelchair to the machine, and then when you get to do the stock on it, I mean, just how does that work?
what's the stocking thing you talk about? I drive a wheeler now.
It's called neutral.
Yeah. So speaking of stocking, I am currently building a 1,000-meter rifle. I borrowed my buddy's one, and I shot 19 out of 20 targets with it, and it hit pretty good. So I will be capable of shooting a steel target at 1,000 meters.
What are you getting?
It's building a 6.5 PRC, so it's basically a 6.5 millimeter Magnum.
Yep.
Wow.
And I have a bench rest style action. It's super accurate. The barrel will be here next month. The rest of it's here. You know,
Build it up.
the optics cost more than the rest of it.
Yeah,
but whatever.
always.
What kind
Yeah.
of optics?
I've got the Vortex. It's a Razor 8 to 45 or 8 to 25, I think.
Turrets and all that.
Yeah, it's all set up to dial in. And once I figure out the bullet I'm going to use, I'll just dial it in and click. I have an 1,800 meter rangefinder, and
Nice.
it'll be fine.
Just be sniping.
That's all I do now. I mean, I set up
Yeah.
a tripod and I shoot.
Where
'cause
Birch?
I don't have good.
Birch Creek over there?
I go to Birchwood. I'm a member
Birchwood,
out there. No, Birchwood's a really cool range. It's the rules got a little different because of COVID. Everyone decided they want to get outside, and everything everyone wants to get outside all of a sudden.
Yeah,
So,
last summer.
Yeah.
so
totally.
Birchwood used to allow people to buy day passes. Now they don't because you can only buy a season pass.
Okay, I thought you had to be a member.
It's a membership.
Oh, it's a membership. Okay.
It's a season pass. So
Okay. Gotcha.
yeah, because everyone wants to get outside. There's just not enough room. I mean, they have 12 rifle ranges with like 8 to 20 lanes each, and they have 17 or 18 shotgun ranges.
Yeah.
They were full all the time last year because everyone wanted
Every
to get outside.
day, all times of the day, right? Because
Yeah,
no one was working.
Yeah, so they just had to limit it. I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't go shooting.
Yeah,
And it was not
that's crazy.
safe because people that don't know how to shoot go shooting, and they are very much on the honor system. You better know how the gun safety works, or they kick you out forever, type of thing.
Yeah.
And if you weren't a member, and they didn't have a way to enforce that, and no one got hurt, but I mean, gun safety is a big deal. I used to be law enforcement. I used to teach gun safety. I'm very cautious about guns, and
Yeah. I
I shoot a lot. I mean,
Yeah. It's the utmost importance.
and I've hunted most of my adult life and all that things. But yeah, I don't stalk so well anymore. So I'm building something that I can reach out and touch somebody. I shoot a Remington 300. It's a Remington 700, but it's a 300 Winchester. And I'm comfortable to 650, 700 yards with that. I will probably never shoot anything over 500, but I can pick out a steel target at 700 yards, no problem.
Okay.
A lot of
In a
that's
controlled environment.
a lot of that is knowing how to shoot, but I mean, the gun is capable. I've heard tell that the newer Remingtons are not as high a quality as my 25-year-old stainless Remington, but I got a nice gun 25 years ago.
Lost your lifetime.
But yeah, this new one will be able to reach out if I needed to.
Sweet. That's it. He doesn't. No stock needed.
Stock
There it is.
needed.
900 yards.
Yeah, and I don't hike so well, so I'm using a wheeler. But yeah,
So everything, you got to be able to access it, obviously, with a machine of some sort.
Yeah.
I mean, hunting is completely different now, and I've gone out with friends a lot the last many years. But like, if you see a moose across the creek, That's not a problem. You shoot the moose. You can find a way to cross the creek. I cannot do that. You can wade across. You can get wet. You can drive your wheeler across. You can take a raft or canoe or pack raft or
Yeah.
go
You
swim.
don't have that
you
option.
you could swim across it with one hindquarter at a time because that moose is there. You may as well get it. I don't have that option anymore. So I have to physically be able to drive there, which completely limits where I can hunt. And Alaska is a interesting state that we have absolutely no areas that are open to disabled people. There are places I can get, like non-motorized areas, I can get a permit to go, but it's a really hard fight to get that permit because it's just generally not allowed.
Okay.
So I'm working on hopefully getting a disabled moose hunt in Kincaid.
Is there groups trying to change that in other states?
Every other state has a disabled hunt.
They do
for a lot of different species. Alaska is the only state. And I have a lot of military friends, so no offense to military people. There are some disabled veterans hunts.
Yep, there are.
And, but I also know some people that are 150% disabled that have run the Boston Marathon because disabled veteran status does not necessarily mean you're physically disabled. Yeah. And some people are. And there's a lot of GIMPs and amputees. I mean, I'm wearing a Team GIMP squad hat.
I saw that. Yeah.
I'm a GIMP. I make fun of it. But, yeah, so there are a lot of different types of disabilities in the military world that can qualify you as a disabled veteran, but not necessarily a physical disability. So, and those areas obviously are not open to me. Even though I was law enforcement, I was not military, and I couldn't join the military because I'm a diabetic.
It seems like that will be changing.
It should. It should. What they're doing for the military vets is like the wound warriors and stuff like up at Eielson is awesome.
There's a lot of disabled hunting organizations that help the military out. So, and those are mostly in open hunting areas, not just disabled veteran areas. But
has anything been ever taken to the board to say, hey?
We're working on that. I took it to the board of game for a hunt out at Kincaid Park because if you do a lot of single truck biking, there's a lot of cows. It would be a cow hunt, antlerless hunt only in Kincaid.
Thin them out
and
a little bit.
when I did this, I mean, the Fish and Game testified between every year, and this is a couple of years ago, but every year between 10 and 17 people have been ambulanced because of moose attacks. That doesn't make the news very often.
No, of course
but people get stomped. And I mean, I knew less than that because I knew people that didn't ride ambulance. Their friends took them to the hospital.
Oh, yeah, right. The ones that didn't go reported.
These are actually EMS runs. So that's what happens. I mean, it's a wild place. We've built trails there. We're getting out and having fun.
Yeah.
And
so it's part of the risk.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, but a lot of people also don't realize that. I mean, people don't realize that Alaska's a wild place.
Or they're in the city. It's like, oh, okay, I'm just going to go for a walk on this back trail off at Elmore. And it's like, well, there's a cow and calves, and there's probably a black bear following it around. And, you know, Jack just mentioned a story a few weeks ago about that. I mean.
Yeah, you need to kill that black bear with the orange tag in its ear.
But
it was tagged?
Oh, yeah.
He didn't mention that. No.
Yeah.
I live in a neighborhood right next to Service High School. It's between Service High School and the ball fields on Elmore, and
lots of critters in there.
Yeah, there are 2 sows and cubs that live in my neighborhood every year, and at least one big boar, and usually every year there's a brown bear running through the neighborhood.
Yep.
And that's right next to an elementary school, right next to a major trailhead, right next to a big intersection on Abbott. It gets a lot of traffic.
Yeah, you run those trails or ride your mountain bike back in there, you see piles of scat every 50 yards.
What's crazy is I grew up there right in that neighborhood and rode my bike on those goat trails because they used to be goat trails before they were mountain bike trails.
Yeah.
Every day in the summer, is that leave the house in the morning, come back for dinner, and I never saw a bear.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen them. I see tracks and scat.
But they're all
the
over now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's changed.
Maybe
The bears
they've come
back.
down.
Yeah, I think like back in the day they killed them.
Well, there was a lot of the triple S's, the shoot, shovel, and shut up type of concept.
What was that?
Shoot, shovel, and shut up.
Shoot, shovel, and shut up.
The bear was a nuisance. You killed it and buried it.
I totally agree that was happening.
But also in the last 30 years, the state has stocked salmon in Campbell Creek drainage, and they're
that's a good point,
North Fork Campbell Creek, like up by Long Lake. There's always been sockeye up there. It's one of the highest altitude sockeye lakes around. Not just Anchorage, but it's up in the hills. If you ever climbed up there, there's sockeye that run all the way up North Fork Campbell Creek. But now there is more salmon in Lower Campbell Creek that have, bears like salmon. It helps out. And it's cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen bears all the time, watched bears eat salmon in the creek, and it's cool to watch until it's you. So
Yeah.
Until you're biking and you come around a close corner and one walks out.
Yeah, 15 years ago, there was a girl in a mountain bike race on Campbell Creek, and she got shredded by a bear. I was in EMT then volunteering that night. She was the worst live person I've ever seen. I helped haul her out of the woods that night.
She's torn up.
Wow.
She's doing okay now. A lot of reconstructive surgery. She can speak pretty good, but she's still going to have scars.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
mental.
that was, she was the worst live person. And as a medic, I'd seen lots of dead people, but she was the worst live person I've ever seen. And she was 16 years old. I used to coach her in skiing when she was a little kid. And
oh, man.
Yeah, that was brutal.
but yeah, we were out there having a grand old time, having big bonfire at the ball fields on Campbell Track there. And there's bears everywhere. I mean, and this city and the state may have taken an aggressive approach to kill them all type of thing, because they may not have killed the bear that did it, but they killed a bunch of bears that year. But I mean, it's a wild place. So I'm always cautious. I pack 90% of the time if I'm outside.
Absolutely.
Speaking of that, are you left-handed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I saw your Diamond D. I want to say that's what it was.
It
and
is.
I saw, what do you have there, 500 or 454?
That's actually a Glock 20, a 10 millimeter.
No, that bit.
Oh,
that one there.
I've had a 454.
454?
That was the Ruger Super Red Hawk. But, I've come to the realization that a automatic pistol is a much better operation, because I can put more bullets on target at a higher velocity and much more lead down range.
Yeah.
I'm shooting 250 grains to the 10 mil, and I was shooting 350 grains to the 454. I'm shooting twice the speed and 7 times the amount of rounds down range. In the same 6 shots, I can get 31 shots down range.
And you can probably reach out more with a longer barrel on that pistol, right? Because this is like what, a 3.5
3.5.
inch?
It's
short.
If you're shooting at a bear, you're shooting at less than 30 yards.
True.
So there's no worries about distance. So I'm not going to shoot at a bear at 50 yards where he's not in danger. A bear at 50 yards can easily change his mind.
Yeah.
A bear at 30 feet can't. Is on his way.
He's coming. So. Yeah, that's true.
That's interesting, because there's always a big debate about that. 44, 454.
I have personally, through work in law enforcement, had to put down bears, and as a researcher or hunter, I've had to put down some other bears for DLP type things. 12 gauge shotgun is the best option.
Yep.
And apart from that, an automatic
with a slug.
The more the merrier on an automatic pistol. I'm a 15 plus 1 in the Glock, and then another 15 in the magazine. I've trained a lot. I have tactical training in law enforcement. I've trained a lot. Most people scare me with guns because they don't train and they don't know how to use them. Yeah. And they probably will miss and hit you. So if you have a gun is a worthless tool if you don't train with it very often.
Yeah.
But yeah, a automatic pistol can put a lot more lead down range really quickly, and they don't recoil as much. So people that are...
What about the jam factor?
That is another thing. I have trained, I can clear a malfunction in less than a second. And if it's a jammed, a double feed, I can do that in less than 3 seconds. And that's still 40 feet for a bear. So in 30 yards, I can still clear that.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to your saying about training, and that's 100% true. You can keep this thing in your safe and take it out on your 4 hikes a year, but if you don't train with it,
people with guns scare me. I've taught gun safety. People with guns scare me because they'll fumble. If you're not trained, you will fumble 100%.
Well, and there's the panic factor. Yeah,
you will fumble.
You can train, and then it happens, and you freeze, you lock up. That's. I personally done it. We were talking about the Russian earlier, the Russian River. I had a sow and a cub come out, and I was standing in the river, and I froze. I froze for about 7 seconds, and it seemed like an eternity. But it took that time to realize, whoa, wake up. You have to... I didn't do anything, and she stayed on land, but it was the first time in my life I felt like, holy shit, out of control. I froze and had nothing for a second, and that was scary. I always thought I'm consummate outdoorsman, protect me and my family, whatever, and I stalled, and it was kind of embarrassing.
And you never really know. You can train for that to help it get better, but you never really know until you know.
Yeah.
And I have a really calm demeanor, and I've unfortunately had to be confronted with that situation on a lethal side, like me or them type of thing. So I realized I'm okay with that. And in law enforcement, I was always very calm, so that helped things.
Sure, you're trained
So
for
we
that.
had a lady. We just had a recent gun bear safety class for my work, and I don't go on the field all that often because I'm working on a computer drawing maps. But I will be helping our soil scientists do soils analysis pretty often. I did really well in the shooting. Obviously, I have lots of training, and some people didn't. We had a lady that's more of an office staff type of lady. She had trouble hitting the target. She'd never shot a shotgun.
Yeah.
And then they did scenario drills with the bears charging you. Man, she killed every bear quickly.
So
And having never shot a shotgun, having never figured it out, the whole fight or flight thing, she killed every bear.
Wow.
So you never know. You never know till that's
when it mattered, she showed up and
she killed every bear.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't miss a shot, but she had trouble hitting the broadside of a target at 10 yards away. Otherwise, just aiming the gun.
yeah.
So you never know. You got to. I mean, until you're presented with one of those stressful situations, it's hard to tell.
Either freeze or focus.
Yeah, the flight or flight concept is a thing.
It is very much so. Absolutely.
Wow. Rooster Skier. Let's get into the skiing thing. Do you have that build or they make those? Because obviously I've seen a lot of people that use that kind of thing down in the States and and what's that called?
So it's a sit ski. It's basically a downhill mountain bike suspension type of concept, built into a composite bucket that you can put foam in to mold around the shape of your butt because you don't want to have ill-fitting equipment. One of the other problems being paralyzed is you have severe atrophy in your muscles. So just like if you ever had a cast or broken leg or anything like that, your leg shrinks. I've shrunk down to nothing. I have every girl's dream. I have a small ass. You can touch my bones through my skin. Not super pleasant for the health side of things because I have to make sure I protect my skin all the time. If you guys saw my wheelchair, when you pulled it up, it looks like a contoured butt pad that's the shape of my butt.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a way to keep your skin padded and keep you able to, it's my mechanical knee. It's like a prosthetic knee. That whole thing acts as my knee. I can't walk, so it lets me have suspension while I'm driving. But I'm sitting on a single ski and I use 2 outriggers for kind of balance poles. They're not really crutches unless I'm actually in the lift line or something.
Now those have little ski things on the bottom of it. You can't see in the
Yeah,
picture.
so it's kind of like walking a tightrope. It's for balance and crutches. It helps you extend your arms, shift your weight, things like that. You can sort of self-correct, but if you try to self-correct in powder, they're going to act like a dead man anchor and will spin you around. It's not the most pleasant thing.
Are you locked into that? Is there like a seatbelt kind of thing, a harness? Or
I
anything?
have straps around my thighs, straps around my waist, straps around my feet. If I take a cartwheel, I'm going with it. Unless, of course, I rip out, which we may talk about that.
Yeah.
Are your ankles strapped together too?
Yeah,
Okay.
my feet are strapped in on all these things. And then my new one has a whole composite shell that covers my legs, so it helps keep the snow and the wind off too. So
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay. I saw the picture of that.
So he doesn't
How heavy?
dust you real bad?
everything falls into my lap. This one makes it slide off.
How heavy is that? What is your new one?
They aren't light pieces of machinery. And again, I'm 6'5", so I need a bigger tool than everyone else. It's about 55 pounds. So I'm 250 pounds. It's about 50. I'm on a single ski at 300 pounds going down the mountain, barreling fast. So
Watch out.
stay out of my way.
Watch out.
Gravity is my friend. I used to ski uphill all the time too at the same weights, but I'm just, as a big, tall dude, I was not that big at 6'5". I mean, I'm just tall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So how do you get on the chairlift? Does it just slide up under you?
Yeah, the ski has 2 outrigger poles, and I turn them into crutches by flipping up the ski parts, and I do a dip, and I lift up as the chair slides under my butt.
Okay.
I don't have.
And then what about when you exit? You just kind of jump on and go down
Throw my weight forward and push off and pitch down the hill.
and go.
Keep on going. Try not to get stuck on the chairlift. Some of the chairlifts are made out of grippy rubber because they don't want people to fall off of them. Sometimes that makes me get stuck to them, and I've run the bull wheel before.
I missed that one.
Yeah, you only have one try, and if you miss that try and you're stuck to the thing and you pitch yourself forward, you're running into the bull wheel.
Oh yeah.
I think Jack was at the top of the mountain when I did that. He
Yeah.
wasn't part of the helping crew, but he saw me. So.
Yeah, I didn't help you wreck. I helped you get back up. But I don't think that was your fault. Someone came in your way and you did
skied
the
over
genuine thing and went around.
Yeah, crashes happen, but I tried to avoid people, and I'm really good at avoiding trees, rocks, children, lift towers, things like that. So
Yeah. So do you dial that binding in super tight? What's it like? How many?
So I'm using an 18 din free ride binding, and I dial it like 6 cranks past 18. So it's not a solid spring, but I crank the spring solid and back it off half a turn. So it's not going to release.
Yeah.
It's a really bad deal if I release from a binding because I can't walk back to my ski.
Right.
Pause right there.
How fast have you got that thing up to?
I've been clocked at over 80.
Yeah.
That's with alpine race bindings and a 218 centimeter downhill ski, like the way when I was training for Arctic Man.
Okay. Was that alley or where?
Yeah, you straight line down trap line.
All right.
Or Prospector, you can straight line those on it.
Yeah.
When you're doing speed training days, they let the groups for the alpine race team and the adaptive teams run before the mountain opens.
Oh, okay.
They do not want people going that fast when there's people on the
Oh
hill.
yeah.
No
totally.
way.
Totally.
Yeah.
You ever wreck going that fast?
Yeah, I wrecked at Arctic Man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, doing the race?
Mid pole or after you let go?
Beef on off the tit, straight on.
Oh, damn, dude.
And that's 60. That's 58 degree downslope. It's
So you rolled hard.
you're straight
dude.
lining. I made it about 400 meters. Hit a cross track. Someone trenched the uphill, and I hit the trench and kicked sideways.
A snow machine trench?
Wow, he's
Yeah,
gonna pull up
yeah,
picture.
I have pictures and video.
Okay, really quick, we're looking at your state trooper.
That was
pictures.
a graduation picture.
No one in there has a beard, so I don't know who you are. Are you in the brown?
He's the Parks.
I'm the parky there in
The brown and green?
brown shirt. Yeah. So I shaved for most of my law enforcement career. When I was working backcountry in the winter, I was allowed to have like a number 2 setting on the buzzer, which is pretty friggin' short, even shorter than what you got. So I once a week shaved my whole head. It was great.
Yeah.
That's if I was working backcountry in the winter only. If I was front country, I had to be shaved that day. If I was ever front country in the summer, I had to be shaved.
Front country? I've never heard that word.
So
Me either.
I did a lot of stuff on snow machine tours back in the woods.
Okay,
I was running cabins, running backcountry patrols, running wildlife trappings patrols, all that kind of stuff.
the
Where I
stuff
was
was-
dealing with people, but backcountry type stuff. If I was running the front cabins, and there's no campgrounds in the winter because they close them all down. So the winter is a whole different operation for state parks. But generally, I was clean shaven, which is I look like a 12-year-old. So
And so
Shows me.
front country was like road access stuff, office,
cabins.
cabins.
Camp.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Gotcha.
I went down to Willow. I was out in Nancy Lake is where I was based, so that was also Willow Creek. Willow Creek's great for fishing. There's a crap ton of people there fishing every weekend during king season and
Oh my
all
gosh.
the time the rest of the year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful campground, and almost all the spaces are RV sized, so you can camp there on an RV or a tent site or
Some of the new Willow Creek campground?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And that's like 15
huge.
years old now. It was 5 years before I got hurt is when they refixed it up.
Okay. Freshly paved it in, all that.
Oh yeah, and all the campsites, fire rings, everything, and it's
Yeah.
not one where you have to reserve it as much because it's not really a campsite. You camp next to your RV spots.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind
Whereas-
of a parking lot, but it is nice.
Yeah, whereas
Yeah.
Nancy Lake has reservable campsites and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
Bring the thermocell out there. I'll tell you that.
Oh, dude. I told you a lot.
Oh yeah,
dude.
last year when
Costco is
Carlo
selling
went
a
home.
USB chargeable thermosol now.
What do they got?
You can buy a battery-powered USB chargeable thermosol at Costco now.
Is that what I saw? All those.
Awesome.
Oh, I didn't
I
really
took it
look
on a
into
canoe
it.
trip. It's awesome.
Oh, okay.
It worked good.
It's at
Were the
Costco?
mosquitoes bad last weekend at Little
I
Sioux?
happen to go to Costco every day, so I'll get us all one.
That is a reference.
No, I need one this weekend.
That is a frame of reference. I would say there was mosquitoes there.
Okay.
It wasn't hunting season bad.
Well, I went out last night to Willow, and it was atrocious, dude. I mean, I was.
But it's still not hunting season bad.
I mean, I was surprised. I mean, I know usually mid-June it's pretty bad, but it was. I mean, as soon as I rolled up and jumped off the boat, I was like, oh, that's not so bad.
Okay, the buzz
10 minutes
bombers
later,
are
I'm
gone.
like, rah.
The buzz bomb B-52 bombers are gone. The kamikazes are in.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, the big female, the females are gone. You're right. I probably pulled like 50
Right to your
mosquitoes, or your ear, you're in your ear hole.
Right your
Just-
eye in your ear every time.
Yeah,
Yeah. Direct it to the eye.
kamikaze right in your eyeball.
Yeah.
So I saw a picture of a sheep up there.
Yeah, go
Oh,
back to
yeah,
that shit.
yeah.
That was off Bellicose Peak in Peters Creek area.
Okay, you draw that one.
If we can you zoom in on this picture at all?
You got a ponytail going on there?
I had dreads.
And a goat.
Oh,
You had
wow.
dreads.
Yeah.
Full dread. Huh?
So at the bottom of the river near a curve.
Ira was getting irie.
Anyway, there's our tents at the bottom of the riverbed there. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
we're like, I think Bellicose is one of the taller peaks in the Chugach, and we were on the Peters Creek side of Bellicose, but it's a ways back there.
Chugach, yeah, those are gnarly mountains.
We hiked in off Ram Valley and Eagle River. Had a friend that owns some property up there. Those friends are really nice, and all the people that have been trespassing ruin it for everyone. Trespassing is really nice if you ask permission first. So all the people trying to get outside, please don't trespass in the mountains. Please ask for permission. And the people are a lot nicer if you're nice to them and talk to them and don't dump garbage in their lawn. And
Yeah.
but yeah, we hiked over Ram Valley, saw an airplane crash. There's a yellow dot.
Your tent's down in there?
It's on the uphill side of Peters Creek, lower.
Next to all the other yellow stuff?
Off to
Right
the left.
there?
Off to the left. There, right there. Oop.
Oh, right
Yeah,
there.
right there.
Oh, right here
That's
on the river.
my 2-person North Face tent. So
Oh, okay. Damn, so you just got up and like, hey, Ram, right there.
there were 5.
Sweet.
We chased them over the other side of the mountain, and then they came back this way. So
Oh, perfect.
I mean, it was
Looks like a nice Ram, fat
fat.
boy.
It was
Look at
fat.
the neck on that thing.
Yeah, it was fat. It was like
Yeah, it does have a fat neck on it.
just
Yeah.
over full curl, but yeah, whatever.
Big bases.
Really dark.
I was 23 then ish. I was out of college, something like
Yeah.
that. So.
Young
It's a nice
stud.
looking ram.
Yeah, that's a
Pretty
really nice
day
Ram.
out there.
My buddy got blisters and decided he couldn't hike over the top to go back to Ram Valley. So we hiked out Peters Creek, so it was 19 miles out.
that was better?
With 5 river no, it wasn't better.
Yeah.
With 5 river crossings, and his
Oh, man.
his
what a-
girlfriend at the time went and picked us up. She was living in Indian, and so she drove out. We knocked on somebody's door at dark 30, might have been close to midnight. Covered in mud with a dead animal on her back. There's no cell phones back then, so
No.
asked if we could call to get a ride because we were going to go to our car on Ram Valley. That didn't
Right.
work out so well.
That your 700 there?
That is a 280 Remington,
Okay.
my grandfather's rifle.
Oh, that's cool.
I've still got it. I have now put a recoil suppressor and a better scope on it, but
Yep.
that was a 4-power Weaver scope from the 60s.
Sweet.
It used to be called a Remington 7mm Express.
Oh, yeah,
And that
yeah,
was,
yeah. That was a popular mountain rifle back in the day,
Yeah,
right?
it's super
Yeah.
nice. I've gotten like 4 moose and like 8 or 9 caribou with it before I bought my 300 20 years ago. So
Cool. So what year was it when you graduated from the academy? I'm going to go back to
I
that
broke
picture.
my back in November 2010 and graduated from the academy in April or May of 2010. So it was the same year. I had been
Right
working
out
in
of
law
the
enforcement
academy.
doing training for the year and a half prior. So
Okay. Is that like almost like would be like an internship?
well, you have to take time. I got hired, and then I
Yeah.
couldn't go through the academy for another year because it's full.
Oh,
and you have
okay.
to. Also, I was on probation, so it's literally like complete military background checks, fingerprints, but blood testing, anal probe. I mean, literally, they checked for everything. So.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
I wasn't joking about the anal probe, so bend over and spread them. No, but I mean, it was like
Check this out.
it was a long process to even go through the academy. I mean, they knew I passed the security clearances, so that's why I got hired.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good job. I mean, I got to do a lot of the public safety stuff before I got hurt, and then the law enforcement actual carry gun, the whole law enforcement get rid of assholes. Actually, after I got out of the academy, got done with training. I mean, it was several months of field training just to even be allowed to be on my own. So
Wow. And so all the field training you were doing, was it remote?
it was all over Alaska with other officers that have had enough experience to be a field training officer. So
Okay.
I worked down in Homer, out in Kachemak Bay State Park. I've worked on the Kenai River. I've worked up in Fairbanks. I did things all over Alaska. So I was pretty mobile for that year.
And your guys and gals that were training you were all really good. I mean, did they take
It was
good care of you?
a good operation. And I, as a biologist, had known several of them, and as an
Okay.
outdoors person, had known more of them, and it was pretty good. I mean, my problem at the academy was I went to college with a sergeant, and I knew my tattoo artist was, or a guy who was a tattoo artist that I would have tattoos, and he had tattoos. We talked about it all the time. Was the lieutenant. I had a really big problem with saying yes sir and no sir. I called them by their first names, and I was also at age 35 older than most of the people in the academy, and I was super fit, so I was one of the better athletes there. I had a really big problem with calling them sir because I used to drink beers with them.
Yeah, naturally, right?
And as a result, I did that many thousands of push-ups.
And got bigger and stronger and more athletic than them.
Bench press.
Because, they have to, it's not military, but it's semi-military. I was also one of the very few people.
There's a hierarchy. You got to
I was one of, there were 40-something people. I was one of only like 2 that had not been in the military.
Oh, okay.
That's a very common part of law enforcement is ex-military people. So.
Right, and they're already used to those ranks, the sir, all that.
Yeah, for sure. And I wanted to join the military at one point, but I couldn't. So wildlife enforcement, law enforcement was a good option for me. But yeah, that was a problem that I knew personally more than half of all the staff at the academy.
Okay.
Was that because of the diabetic thing?
Yeah, as a diabetic, I signed up for the military after college, and they got pissed off when my dad was military and all that. So I went to military hospitals all through as a childhood. They had all my records. They somehow missed a part that I was diabetic.
Wow.
They looked at all the broken bones and stitches, the outdoorsy boy things you do in Alaska.
They're like, he's still
healed.
Structurally sound.
Good. They missed the 500 pages of diabetes. So I signed up, and they got super pissed that I didn't tell them when I was ready to ship out. I was heading out.
But you probably were more disappointed than they were.
I was pretty disappointed. I climbed all the big mountains in Alaska by my mid-20s at this point. I've rafted a lot of big rivers, like month-long trips, and I worked seasonally as a biologist. I could do lots of things in my off-season.
Living out in the woods, yeah.
I crossed big mountain ranges on month-long trips. I've done a lot of the things.
Yeah.
And so I was more fit than probably most of the people going into the academy.
Yeah.
But, so I stayed with it as a biologist. So that was also really fun. I had traveled a lot.
You were able to refocus and be like, all right, well, obviously military is not an option. This is what I'm going to do.
I got paid to fly in helicopters and airplanes to best fishing spots in Alaska.
Yeah.
And occasionally I had to
bummer.
do research work, but that's only like 16 hours a day, and you can fish the other 8 hours a day.
Yeah. Perfect.
You touched on earlier, sorry, did I interrupt you?
You're good.
On the Noatak, and that's one of the trips that's really been on my list to do, and I had another buddy who did it, one of my other teacher friends. What's the in and out and the details of that?
There are lots of in and outs. It's Gates of the Arctic National Park, and it's a national wildlife refuge as well, or national park and preserve. So the town of Noatak is a couple miles across the bay from Kotzebue. So you can fly in and fly out of Kotzebue. There's stuff like that. Or you could go in the long-term way and go in out of Anaktuvik Pass in the Brooks Range, and it's very short distance to the actual Noatak River from there, and drop a raft or get a food drop with a raft or something like that. So that's a 10 to 15-day trip if you're doing it that way.
Okay.
How did you do it?
I went into Anaktuvik.
Yeah.
You did.
But the best fishing is in the last third of the river. There's
Closer to the coast.
when you hear about football-shaped rainbows, they got football-shaped char up there.
Yeah.
Literally fatter than they are long.
Yeah, and there's sheefish in there too, right?
At times, I was there late May.
Yeah, because I think they ice fish those in the
No.
brackish water in the spring.
We caught. I worked on the Yukon River for 5 years.
Okay.
We caught sheefish like in your St. Mary's and Pilot Station. That's almost 100 miles upriver. We were fishing rapalas for them. They're topwater bait. Dude, they have eyes. They're tarpon. They look like a tarpon.
Yeah.
They have eyes on the top of their head, and they're like looking up here with a big undercut belly mouth, and they're like ready to go. So,
Oh yeah, and then they just whale it up, right?
they're the hardest fighting fish for 3 seconds. They're like, okay, you got me. I'm done. Pull me in.
yeah.
Really?
But those 3 seconds, man, they rip out 100 feet of line.
Well, and you want to catch if I remember right, you want to get like the 15-pound males. They're the better fighters.
No, they're all like a 3 second fight.
Even the big ones are the
then they're
small
like,
ones?
oh, this is awesome. We're done.
That's kind of like, that's how a pike kind of fights almost a little bit.
Pikes still sort of do the slow fight after the first hard fight. These are like
A big one really does, but the little ones are like, "Meep," done.
to some extent. Pikes still sort of fight a little bit.
Yeah.
Sheefish are like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
And how are they eating?
They're pretty awesome.
They are.
It's a whitefish. It's
Super bony too, right?
no, they aren't like pike where they have extra bones. It's the same bones all the other fish have.
Okay.
I mean, their pin bones are like halibut pin bones or rockfish pin bones. They're a little thicker,
Okay.
but it's still the same bones. Pike are the only ones with the Y bones. Yeah.
They suck.
Pike white bones
And
are
they're
fine.
great,
You
but-
pull them out, or you cut them into 3 fillets instead of 1 fillet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, sheefish are pretty awesome. They're ice fish for them, and you can catch them probably through June in the coastal waters. But they're swimming up to Fairbanks to go eat all the smolt. They're eating smolt. And
Okay.
they're anadromous. They spawn and they go back out to the ocean.
Yep.
What was that word?
Anadromous. That's a fish that lives both in freshwater and saltwater and spawns in the freshwater. So steelhead do that. Some char, a lot of char do that. Cutthroat do that. Not all cutthroat. Cutthroat can do that.
Yeah.
Down like Cordova area, they do that for sure.
Yeah. In Whittier.
There's this thing called the Anadromous Waters Catalog. It's very important for wildlife management in Alaska, and it's all rivers that have salmon are anadromous. All salmon are. They spawn in the ocean.
Okay.
They spawn in fresh water and go out to the ocean to live. So all places that have anadromous fish have been mostly cataloged in Alaska. It's really important for habitat management and all kinds of things like that. As a biologist, that was really important to my work.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite fish to eat?
I'm on the seafood diet. No, this is not SEA. This is SEE. So if I eat seafood, I'm allowed to eat it.
But there was just one if there was just one, if you could just choose one.
I like king salmon and coho salmon. They have a little higher fat content. They're really good for sushi that way. They make the best pickled fish. Pickled cubed salmon is pretty freaking amazing.
Oh, I've never actually had pickled salmon.
You ever eaten pickled herring?
Yes.
Imagine that with a fatty king salmon or a silver salmon.
That oil just all in the can.
Because herring is
juiced
pretty
out.
oily too. No, it doesn't
yeah.
juice out. It's in the meat, but it's the same. That same
Oh, I was thinking like a
texture.
smoked canned. You know how the fat kind of like clumps
that
up
one.
one
Yeah.
side. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
but
that.
yeah, pickled salmon is pretty awesome, and they're good for grills because they stay moist.
Grilled piece of king is the best. Yeah.
But I eat a lot of reds because they're easy to get and they're tasty. And I mean, we're eating
Yeah, you can't
3
beat that.
types of red here. We're eating fish bellies, smoked fillets, and lox.
Yeah, those bellies were killer.
King lox is still the best lox, but I'm not going to share that with you guys. Sorry.
Now, what about red meat or game meat? Do you have a favorite?
I'm on whatever I'm able to get. I mean, I do not shoot things in rut. I've got 15 or 16 caribou under my belt at this point. I ate one in rut one time, and that's one of those things you only do once.
Yeah.
I
It's
have
awful,
never
man.
shot one, but I've eaten goat and rut. Goat and rut is worse. And that's, it's just one of the things you only do once. And nowadays it's kind of nice. They've shut down the seasons during the rut.
Yeah.
The meat processors won't take stuff. I mean, I process all my own meat, but they just try to keep people from shooting things they're going to have to waste. Even dogs won't eat caribou and rut. It's that bad. I have friends who run slug dogs. So the people I went canoeing this weekend, one of them is Christy Barrington. She's multiple Iditarod racer. I think she's got 12 or 13 Iditarods now. Yeah, her dogs won't take meat and rut. It's pretty gross. If a dog won't eat it, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, they know. It's like, oh, that smells and tastes like piss.
But yeah, I've got 10 moose under my belt. Those are pretty tasty and big amount of meat. It's a little, I've gotten 2 since I got hurt. It's a little harder for me to get at them these days.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that machinery like a gin pull or even a front end loader is really nice.
There you go. Yeah. Somebody's private property.
Do you have like a gin pull or a dabbit on?
I'm
your-
building one this
Yeah.
year. It's going to hook onto the rear bumper, and
Cool.
I'll put a winch on the rear end. So
Yeah, I have a design that one of our friends did. If you need it,
I'm willing to look at it. I've only seen one, and it was on the front end, and that wouldn't work for my wheeler. But I think there's a way I can rig cables to the back by the frame and tie it to the cab,
so this
and then
went to the back.
and it would cable to the frame by the cab, and then it would hook onto the bumper, and the winch would be at the bumper.
Yep.
That's what I think I need to do.
Yeah, this was a design done by our friend that's an engineer that went from the front with the winch, your normal 4-wheeler, 6-wheeler winch, ran back underneath with a pulley system, then up like the davit or gin pole or whatever, and then back down. And I have a good picture of a 63-inch moose being pulled up with it.
Yeah, I'm interested in looking at new ideas because I am now at the point where that's the only way I'm going to be able to get a moose.
Yeah.
I mean, I've personally got 49 big game animals in Alaska since I've been a kid, and I've helped butcher another 50 or 60. I mean, at my house, I processed 102 animals now. So, I mean, I've done a lot, and I've helped a lot even after I got hurt done moose with that. It's a lot of work to roll a moose over.
Oh, man.
A bison definitely required a truck.
Yeah.
And we used a truck to roll the bison over. 2 people was me and Kurt's not a small person either.
Oh, yeah. Kurt's a monster.
It was difficult with 2 of us.
Yeah.
I was wondering about the meat quality of that bison. I personally think that bison's my favorite game meat. I was just curious what you thought of it versus moose, caribou.
It was pretty awesome, but bison is a cow. It had marbled meat. It was pretty awesome. It was not the lean meat you think about wild game. It's a bovid. Mm-hmm. So bison and cows, they have beefaloes. You can interbreed. It's pretty cool. Yaks and bison and cows are all bovid. They have cloven hoofs. It's I mean, having worked in as a wildlife biologist before I was a fisheries biologist, it's pretty cool to study that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's great to learn that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really tasty. But I'm not gonna say it's my favorite meat because I'm probably not gonna get another one.
Yeah. Like, I get bison every year.
And I honestly, sheep tastes great. I don't think it's the best meat out there. You have to work really hard to get it, but
that's what makes it taste good.
It's really good meat. So the experience makes things taste better. The memories of why you got it is pretty awesome.
That's a good point.
But I think moose is probably the best all around because caribou, it's a lot of meat, and my caribou the last 5 years have been cut with a fork tender. I mean, you don't have to get them in rut. Let's just put it that way. But I'm literally cut with a fork tender, and the tenderloins are even better than that. Cut with spoon tender. But I mean, moose is tasty. Caribou's tasty if you get them the right time of year. I get them early.
Really, I
always go early season.
Age. Right.
I always go first week of season because it's generally not near rut. I mean, I've got
close.
things where you can call them in. It's closer to rut, and it worked for moose. I mean, but I'd rather not worry about the meat. But moose have a lot of meat. It's pretty good tasting, and you can do a lot of things with it.
I shot a. I don't want to say he was fully rut. I want to say he was in maybe the beginning, and I chewed on that moose for 2 years until I finally got the rest of that meat out of my freezer, and it was a nice big old bowl, but the meat sucked. I mean, that was the one bummer about, and it was a lot of meat too.
And I would like to get another big bull someday. I don't have the antlers anymore. They got kind of disposed of in a financial situation. I got divorced a while ago, but that's a whole
I figured that's what you were talking about. It's weird how that happens.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't take the antlers. It just kind of was part of the deal.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I will probably not have as many opportunities to shoot after a big animal. But I would never done the trophy thing. I was like the first brown is down.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the way it works.
Yeah,
I mean, last year we got a bull and a cow, and we got 3 cows and 2 bulls out of our shooting.
Yeah, caribou, right?
Yeah, first ones.
Yeah, all good eaters, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Jack, are we gonna do trivia today?
Oh, we can.
Yeah, let's get that loaded up while you do the shout out right quick.
Yeah, no, I'm ready to roll on that. Let's do a sponsorship shout out to Tailored Restoration, 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling, including burst pipes, overflowing toilets, downed trees, fires, pet accidents, and vandalism. Tailored has an emergency response number with trained professionals available to help you any time of day or night. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, or Matsu, also including Fairbanks up north. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com. They'll get you taken care of. We promote them heavily. They're a good outfit. They're all about helping Alaskans in a time of need. And, if you live up here long enough, we've probably all experienced something where you had a house issue, a leaky pipe. We were talking about that earthquake earlier. I know those guys were busy dealing with that, a couple years
check
ago.
it out.
Yeah. So.
Once again, I grabbed the ram off the wall. I think I was trying to connect to the TV real quick so you could show us. And while you guys take care of that, I'm just going to get rid of do the Serranos real quick. Since 2008, Serranos has anchored his own new generation of old cocina. Their menu showcases the passion and love of their rich heritage and unique family recipes that have been passed down through generations. Serrano's goal is to embrace and display traditional flavors. Using the best ingredients that are available, they focus on making everything from scratch daily. In-house menus include handcrafted corn tortillas, Serrano salsa, carne asada marinades, and chorizo. But don't take their word for it. Experience the tradition and sabor for yourself. Locations on Tudor and Northern Lights. Check out the tequila bar at their Northern Lights location.
Smoked tequila.
All right, let's get after some trivia.
Let's do it.
All right.
Oh, before we start the trivia, we were talking about the other night of we need some sort of intro or a jingle or something where like people know it's trivia time. So if anyone has any good ideas, let us know. Oh, and speaking about good ideas, did you tell them that someone came at us with the boat name? Do you have a boat name yet?
Oh,
we have some boat name, top names, but not picked.
What was it? Deep
Insider.
Jack, since you work in the cider world, there is all kinds of bad names.
Oh, there is. Yeah, we've been thinking about the
that
insider.
Was a good laugh,
the deep insider is
deep
pretty funny.
insider.
I don't know.
That's thanks to Dan.
Does your
Dan
truck have a
Pfeiffer.
Cummins engine?
We always say soaked inside.
Soaked
Yeah,
insider.
we do say soaked insider a lot. Yeah.
Barely insider. There's a whole bunch you could.
Dan was proud of that.
That was good.
He's like, oh, how do I do it? And then neither one of us got back to him how to do the vote. So he's
Well, the
just like,
vote was like months ago.
yeah. So he because he was listening to the Josh Boots podcast.
Oh yeah.
And then he's like, can't help himself. He's like, it's deep insider.
Nice
He
work,
just
Dan.
could not wait to tell somebody.
Dan might get his trip on the boat. Is that what we said? Who gets it? What's the winning get?
Yeah, I think they got a trip on the
They
trip
get-
on
they
the
get a
boat,
charter.
on whatever it's called.
They
That's
get to
that's
sail
definitely
rocks.
top
Deep
of the
insider.
list there.
Yeah.
Deep insider.
Yeah. He might get the deep insider. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. So
like
what's
that.
this jingle?
Oh no,
Okay,
we're trying to think of something where it's like
I
when
had
we
an
play
idea.
it, you know,
Yeah, it
and
needs
we
to be
just
on a
know
button.
it's either
Yeah.
back behind the trivia, like while we're doing the trivia, or some sort of like something that we know the trivia's coming.
Oh, it'd be fun.
So I was
Let's do it.
thinking like some sort of a quirky but like cool song. So it was like quirky, dork, because we always botch it so hard. Like we just don't know what we're talking about. And so I wanted it to be like silly and quirky, and then I wanted it to have like a silly movie quote.
Oh.
Like I was telling Daniel last night, the first thing that came to mind was the movie quote from Dumb and Dumber when he's like, "Oh, Samsonite." He's trying to think of the gal's name, and he says the manufacturer of the
The
suitcase.
bag. Yeah.
So I was thinking like a quirky song, and then like that quote, and then it would be like, like who's that guy? Like it would have
Yeah.
like this little like jingle to it, and then it would segue into
Like old 70s.
yeah.
Or
So if any listeners
Yeah.
out there can think of something I'm
Yeah.
explaining, man.
I think
we're down for ideas.
I think for the silly movie quote from Role Models, it's like you can't bullshit a bullshitter.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
And then we just need a nice little jingle, like maybe like something like Will Smith, back in the day, like Fresh Prince style.
Oh,
Like
okay.
Yeah.
That's what I
intro to
mean. Just
that,
like a quirky, cool
Yeah.
jingle that's like.
Well, we'll
hip
find
and
it. We'll put it
cool,
on
but-
one of the pads so that it's just like trivia time.
Well, that way the listeners know, man. When that jingle starts, it's like, ooh, trivia time.
All right, so here's the jingle. Then wasn't very good. All right.
Trivia time.
This plant has been eaten by people from Alaska for generations. The plant can grow up to 2 feet tall
and it features beautiful pink and purple leaves. The fruit of this plant is not edible, but its root system is a great source of vitamin C, protein, and fiber. It can be eaten raw, boiled, baked, or fried.
Fireweed.
Oh, I had one.
It's wrong.
No. Oh, damn.
Jack's expression wasn't like, oh, he got it first try.
It can be what? It could be what? Eat. Say the last part. Say the whole thing again.
I'm not going to say it.
Say the last part.
Can be eaten raw, boiled, baked, or fried.
Rhubarb.
Eskimo potato.
That's right.
Eskimo potato.
Oh, it's kind of like a. Well,
It kind of does look like a fireweed, but
Okay.
McCandless did not die of that. He died of lots of other things because he didn't have any food. He died during the winter. They don't grow in the winter.
That's the dude in the bus. Yeah.
all right. So we'll roll into the next one. So
Damn, Ira just slammed us, dude. I was like, yeah, you
Well,
already
he's
knew.
a freaking biologist
I
and
know.
this and that and 10 million things.
Smart guy.
we know a bunch of like record vegetables Alaska has grown, but
Do we?
yeah, we do. But we also have the record cantaloupe. How big
Wow. What?
was the record cantaloupe?
Could we do a multiple choice?
Are we talking weight?
Wait, can't go over.
Could we
we're
do
going Price is Right
multiple
style.
choice? No.
How many pounds was this largest cantaloupe?
67.
Go ahead, Ira.
42.
28.
Damn, you were close. 65, Daniel. Damn. So
crap.
Ira got it. Ira's
Ira
up
got
2
two-
on you
2 for
guys.
2.
Man,
2 for
we need to
2.
bring,
What the
bring him
hell?
in for trivia every
60-pound
time.
cantaloupe. Like, how big was that physically
I
looking?
got a picture. Probably looks like one of those like balls
Like
that you stretch out
like
on
a
in the
beach
gym.
ball? Like a beach ball, maybe?
They grow that shit in greenhouses. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't grow up here. But watermelons grow out in Palmer. You can grow little watermelons outside. They're
You think they grew it in a greenhouse?
100%.
Really?
All the monster pumpkins are grown in greenhouses. The
Oh,
last
just
big
gonna
one
ask
that was over 2,000 pounds, the guy had to remove his greenhouse to put it on the trailer.
Oh, really? Wow, that's
Couldn't roll it out?
He has a double French door and couldn't get it out.
The whole greenhouse is just one pumpkin.
I didn't see it, but I saw the process of them getting onto the trailer. They had to disassemble the greenhouse.
Wow.
Is there a prize for that when they win that at the fair? Is just like the
Dude,
first
you get
place
bragging
ribbon.
rights.
The ribbon?
Bragging
Okay.
rights.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is the ultimate reason to do big things.
That's
That's
right.
it.
Coming from Chive's most interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No shit.
I grew a 5-pound tomato when I was like 9 years old, and I won like the junior prize for tomatoes.
Nice.
5-pound tomatoes,
Tomato.
big
That's
as,
pretty
that,
big.
big as that bear almost.
Yeah.
Jesus.
All right, I got one more.
all juicy?
This is a
Okay.
infamous poisonous berry. It has white and red. It's white or red. Look for a black spot on the red berry. It tastes very bitter, so most people don't die of it because they end up spitting it out. They can cause cardiac arrest.
Oh, what is that thing called?
I see it in my mind's eye. I just don't know what it's called.
I want to say salmonberry, but that's edible.
No, that's edible.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that cute? Look at you guys, huh?
It was
wipe
very
that guy's
cute.
face off.
Helping friends.
Yeah.
Or you guys
What did you have
selling
on your
secrets over
What
there?
did you have on your face there? What was that?
Piece of cracker.
Oh, okay.
He likes eating delicious food.
It's getting crazy with that hooligan.
I was eating some lox, actually. You guys aren't eating it. Lox is best eaten fresh. So
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna eat it. We just didn't want to munch on
The
camera
who-
on the mic.
Yeah.
just move the mic away. It's my secret.
There you go.
So you guys got an answer for this yet?
I'm stumped on that. Boysenberry? I don't know why that's
my
coming to
daughter was like on a kick last summer. She got a book and she's like, "Oh, Dad, you know you can eat this and you can't eat that," and she kept pointing out that berry when we would go out in the woods. She's like, "Oh, it's got the spot, Dad. You can't eat that."
Yeah,
And,
it's the white spot, right?
and I kept being like, "Oh yeah, honey, that's right, yeah," but I wasn't listening to exactly
What you were
what
saying.
the berry was. Well, she just said it 100 times, so
Yeah.
you know.
Ira knows. I know Ira knows it.
Go ahead, Ira. I
Yeah,
don't.
what-
I just don't know.
It'd be dogwood.
No.
Is it baneberry?
Yeah.
Baneberry.
Baneberry.
I
Okay.
didn't know white ones grew up here. Okay, well, they're both poisonous, so
Yeah.
We have more than one deadly berry.
yeah.
Damn, I wonder what poor bastard is the first one to discover that one.
I've never eaten them, but as a part of my interesting man process growing up in Alaska, I learned all that how to survive out in the woods for weeks on end. So.
Yeah.
He didn't discover it. It was his friend that watched him die discovered it.
That's right.
Bane?
Yeah. He's like, this one's bad. Let the world know.
They both have white. They both have black spots, and there's white and red ones. So.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, so what you're saying...
It's risky business, too, like with the mushrooms and stuff.
There's generally no white berries that are tasty in Alaska. We'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, even like a really good ripe blueberry is still really sour. I mean, I'm not saying it's not good, but...
I don't know what you've been eating.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about the high tundra stuff, like in Caribou territory and things like that.
Again, I don't know what you've been eating.
I mean, remember the ones we were eating last year? We were coming down and we come across that huge patch and they were mixed with the blackberries. It was weird. The blueberries and blackberries were kind of like intermingled.
Oh, those like little crowberries?
Crowberries. There you go.
Those are tasty. They have a lot of seeds and pits, but you can suck on them and then spit the stuff out.
Yeah.
And you got to get them real early in the season.
I mean, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're not sweet. I'm just saying they're, you go buy grocery store blueberries and they taste like candy and then I don't know.
I totally disagree. I think that the blueberries we have here are so superior to the store blueberries that it's not even. I can't even stand them. And when my kids eat them, they're like, "What's this?" Like we usually eat this other thing.
Yeah.
Well, just like everything else, like the shrimp they eat compared to the store,
Yeah, I'll tell you my.
They are tart. They are
tart. There you go.
Tart.
That's what I meant to
higher
say.
acid than the ones.
That's
in the
what
store.
that's what I meant to say. Sour was the wrong word. Tart is exactly right. I will tell you though, you throw in some pancakes in camp. Get out of here.
You were going to town on those. I don't know what you're talking
Heather's
about.
Choice makes a nice little biscuit pancake mix.
I mean, dude, I wasn't saying they're bad. I'm just
They
saying
did
they're
at
like
one point.
they're tart.
Actually, whatever they make, you can mix and make pancakes.
Yeah, I bet you can do that.
So is there anything on your bucket list that you still want to do Alaska-wise?
It's probably never going to happen, but maybe someday they'll have a way to let me drive a helicopter to go shoot a sheep. I mean, you can get permits to do a lot of stuff because other people, I physically can't do that, like a sheep or goat. And like I currently know of 5 salt licks that I can get to with my wheeler where there's full curl sheep to go there. I've never seen them during hunting season, but I know of 5 salt licks I can get to with my wheeler in open hunting areas for sheep that I can get to. But I will probably never get a legal sheep again. I mean, stuff like that. I've done most of the Alaska things. When I was with Fish and Game as a biologist and doing field research as a technician, I have like almost 4,000 hours of small plane time and over 1,500 hours of helicopter time at the best spots in Alaska to go fishing. I mean, I calculated when I left that profession that I had about $5 million of tourist time. I mean, tourists would have paid that much because I saw tourists in some of the places I worked. But yeah, I've done lots of the things. I just want to keep doing and having fun. And I mean, I've skied Arctic Man. That didn't end up so well, but whatever.
That's cool.
I've done the Alaska things. I mean, I've never summited Denali. I've seen it the top a couple times, but that was good enough. I was happy to have been there. I've been to all kinds of big mountains in the Wrangles. I've rafted and boated most of the Yukon River from Dawson down. I mean, all kinds of stuff. I've just done lots of fun things.
Yeah.
I did not make as much money as some of you guys, but I've had jobs with really good health insurance. I paid my bills. And, bartering is a lost art in this world. I mean, this kind of stuff pays for scuba diving in Mexico.
Yes.
You'd be surprised. I work in the ski industry. I have traveled the world and made friends all over the world. So when you do that, it doesn't cost you money to ski all over the world. Skiing all over the world and skiing in general is a very expensive hobby.
Yeah.
I've made the right choices in life where I didn't make money, but I have a lot of fun. So
yeah,
that's a great balance. And, I call it Alaska rich all the time. And you got all these cool adventures in your bag and in your memory bank. It's worth more than any dollar. And, you can't put a price tag on making memories and doing stuff and living.
Yeah, I mean, I am able these last few years to have the opportunity to take a lot of my friends on my adventures. I mean, also being a wheelchair is kind of unique as an outdoors person.
Yeah.
So like a couple of years ago, I got invited to Katmai. I got to go to their fancy wheelchair accessible cabins that nobody had used in 6 years that they've had them. So I tested them out really good, and it was great.
They were legit.
Break these suckers in.
So, I've gotten to do a lot of the first things. I mean, other people, I'm not the first person to do anything in a wheelchair. Luckily, somebody has already figured this shit out, which has helped me out a lot. But I'm maybe the first person in Alaska to do a lot of these things. So it's kind of sort of unique. But at the same point, someone has helped me figure out how to do these things, or various foundations, or lots of friends, or fundraisers, or someone's invited me to go with me on their trips. I learned at a very early age not to say no to fun. And when you're I'm not a yes man, like bossy yes man, like at work, but I'm a yes man. Like if someone asks me to let's go have fun, I say yes.
Yeah.
And when you start saying yes, you start to get, hey, Ira's game, let's invite him.
Yeah.
And when you keep doing that kind of stuff, you get the call. And when you get the call and you say yes to the call, you get to do more of that stuff because you just do.
Yep.
And I've made it a point to prioritize that kind of stuff. I mean, I work, again, in the ski industry. Someone broke their leg heli skiing, and I used to do stuff with various sports energy drinks. Not sure who your sponsors are, but we have Double Shovel as an energy drink sponsor here.
Say whatever you want.
And I worked, and I did stuff with North Face. And someone broke their leg heli skiing, and they said, hey, we got a helicopter in Valdez. Can you be here tomorrow? And I told my boss I'm going heli skiing. He knew that I loved to ski, and we worked it out.
Yeah.
So I was in Valdez the next morning.
Sweet.
But I said yes. So.
Yep.
I mean, and when you keep doing that kind of stuff, they call Ira.
That's right.
And that has stayed even after I broke my back. So.
Yeah, I find that my wife doesn't really like when I do that very often.
Yeah.
Well, and I would go do what?
I was married for a long time, and that unfortunately is no longer a thing. But I figured out a way to involve her as well, and hopefully I'll find someone else to involve in all my fun adventures again. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I share my adventures with my partners. So
the most interesting man in the world is currently single.
Potentially.
Oh no. Okay.
All right.
Potentially. You want to expand on that?
No comment. No papers have been signed at any point in my life.
I think this is the first time that ours ever been quiet.
Got him.
His face is getting almost as red as his shirt.
Well, good for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, we mentioned all the stuff you did, and you said again that you broke your back, but we didn't hear the story on how that injury happened. I never even got that out of you yet.
Yeah. We kind of talked about it before the podcast.
You good with sharing?
But no, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, for a while I had recurring doubt, like, should I have done something different and all this stuff. So I have heated with firewood since I've been 18 years old. I have had times in my life where I lived in places where I didn't need to heat with firewood, but generally since then I've heated with firewood. I have a wood burning stove in my house currently. I've built close to 100 miles of trails in Alaska. Some of them legitimate, some of them we asked for permission later. That's just it's much better to ask for permission later. A lot of things, and then generally in the state of Alaska, in public land, you can build a trail at 4 feet wide. It's generally allowed use. I mean, you can cut a trail through the woods. So I have built about 100 miles of trails. I used to be on the state trails board, the ORTAB, the Outdoor Recreation and Trails Board. And I helped fund trail building. So I've been around wood cutting a lot. I was certified as a sawyer with the chainsaw, so I could make a big tree hit that cider can at 100 feet away and aim it pretty good.
That's called a sawyer?
Sawyer.
Sawyer, okay.
Like after Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, but it's someone that knows how to run a chainsaw. And I've run lots of chainsaws. Mm-hmm. And I had safety training and that kind of stuff. So I knew how to do bad trees, like leaning trees. And I mean, I wasn't like a YouTube guy and I wouldn't trust my experience on someone's house, but I was pretty good. So I was the guy that got to take a crew out and get rid of the bad trees. And after the big windstorm at Nancy Lake State Recreation Area, it's right before Thanksgiving. There was a lot of nice ski trails out there. A lot of people have private cabins on lakes back in the rec area, and we were clearing trails of all the wind debris. There were trees left and right across all the trails.
Was that the year there was that really wicked storm in September?
No, this is
for like a week.
That was 2012 here in Anchorage.
Okay.
This is November 2010. So
Okay.
this is mostly just a windstorm. The one we had in Anchorage was like rain and wind, and there were trees down everywhere.
Yeah, like power was knocked out for like a week in East Anchorage.
I had been hauling firewood the week before that storm happened, so I never forgot to take the chainsaw out of my truck. I literally cut my way into my neighborhood, which is kind of cool. I had a little 10-year-old help me move the logs, but he had a wheelbarrow. It was kind of fun. I cut them into small enough pieces for him.
Nice.
November 18th, 2010, I was out with a crew of volunteers. I had a winter volunteer crew, people that did caretaking at the cabins, and they stocked toilet paper in all the outhouses around the public use cabins and things like that. I mean, volunteers are great. They had a free place to stay. They had a stipend for food, and they got to experience Alaska. Usually it was kids right out of college. In this case, it was a nice young couple. That guy still works for state parks. He's a trails manager, so super nice guy. But they were new to all this, and I was the guy with first aid training. So it was what they call a widowmaker. The top half of the tree is broken off and it's leaning across the trail. And I was working on, we were going to take it down because we'd already removed 30 plus trees across the trails. And it just kind of broke wrong. And instead of the widowmaker being the bad part to worry about, it broke free and pushed the trunk at me. And my the tree was leaning like a A-frame. Should have fell one way or the other on the A-frame. The widowmaker pushed the trunk at me, and it went that way. And my safety path was that way. So when you're always cutting trees, you always clear bushes, always make a safety path. So
escapement away when things go wrong.
Yeah, and even if things go right, you go to the safe zone. When the tree starts to fall, you go to the safe zone. That's just a part of the deal. When things go bad, you go to the safe zone really fast. And I ran, and I dropped my saw and ran, and I looked over my shoulder, and that's when the tree hit me. If I had not looked over my shoulder, the tree would have hit me in the middle of the head because the tree was lying in my escape path. So it was not a good situation.
So you feel like it would have killed you instead of
paralyzing me,
giving you a second chance.
It definitely would have killed me. I mean, I'm religious, so God kept me around for some reason. I mean, I will find that purpose at some point. I mean, I help people before, I help people now. Some people say, "Oh, you're helping lots of people now," but I helped a lot of people before I got hurt, so we're not sure what that is exactly. But at the instant I looked over my shoulder, the tree scraped my face. I had a forestry helmet on with earmuffs and a face shield and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It tore off the earmuffs, scraped up my ear pretty bad, scraped up my face, cracked my jaw, broke a molar, hit me in the shoulder, and then piled me to the ground. My shoulder, my clavicle, my collarbone broke. It took my shoulder to the middle of my back. The tree literally... on video at all. The tree hit me this way and took my shoulder to the middle of my back.
Rolled it back?
The shoulder joint stayed intact. It was just back there. My scapula broke. I detached several ribs on one side, broke a bunch of ribs on this side. Didn't really puncture lung type thing till later, but I deflated the lung pretty badly.
On that left side?
Yeah, right side was just squished. It wasn't deflated. Broke, if we've all done hunting, there's these ribs that stick on your spine. The side ribs are called transverse processes. The top ribs are called spinous processes. It's called the spine. It holds the spinal cord. I broke off the bunch of the spinous processes that hold the spinal cord in place from T9 in your thoracic, your rib cage area, down to L3 in my lumbar area. So the bendy part of my back got squished. And I dislocated my back and broke another vertebra itself on L1. So my spine was like in two pieces. But instead of cutting my spinal cord was floating in a bunch of bone shards because it dislocated all the ribs that hold your spine in place.
Just shattered all that.
Yeah, which is good because I have a little bit of function below my actual main spinal injury, but it wasn't very good. So I spent almost a month in intensive care in Anchorage. And I never got knocked out, so that was good because my crew didn't really know what to do.
So you're able to talk them through what to do
I
to
was
help
more
you?
screaming and yelling to cut the fucking tree off me because I had one lung and I was in pain.
Oh, and it was squishing you. So you're like, get this fucking thing off me.
Yeah, the other guy was pretty good with the chainsaw, and his girlfriend, who was helping volunteer, was not a chainsaw person, but he got the tree off me, which was pretty cool. And then I knew enough to tell them, having been a medic for much of my adult life at that point, to hold my neck and hold my chest and hold my hips and roll me gently, because I had my radio and my cell phone in a chest harness when I'm lying face down in the snow.
Yeah, and get you turned over.
On the bright side, it was 10 below zero, and there was snow on the ground. This is middle of November. It was just cold. So that helped reduce a lot of the swelling. I was just wearing a soft shell because we were working with trees, or if you've ever done hard work.
You're sweating
You're
out
hot.
there.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing a lot of clothes. And I didn't bring a lot of clothes because we're only a couple miles from the road. And I could go get them, but it was hot. You're working hard.
Yeah.
And we were driving snow machines to make this all work, just to get around and get things done quickly. So we radioed into dispatch and said, officer down, here's what's happened, and I need help. And then I called my boss on his cell phone and all that stuff. And luckily being law enforcement, I had access to the whole EMS system.
Okay.
So they got out there. It took a couple hours still. That's a long time.
It's not like they could get a chopper in because it was probably thick forest, so they couldn't just drop in on and get you out of there, right?
And then one of the other park rangers drove down from Denali. He had time to drive down from Talkeetna to pick me up and help out and put sleeping bags over me and stuff like that. And then the local EMS people got there on a sled, and luckily we had cleared all the rest of the trails off the trail because I didn't bounce over any more trees. So that was a good thing.
Yeah, so it was just smooth. It was smooth getting pulled out of there.
I was also pretty severely hypothermic. I don't know if you've been around people that had hypothermia. It's kind of like you're drunk, you lose a little dissociation with reality type of stuff.
Yeah.
So I
probably
was
help with the pain though, right?
I was not a very good patient. I was trying to tell them how to do their job and how bad of a job they were doing putting me on the backboard. And having been a medic, I knew how to do this, and I was not a very good patient. I brought them beers the next year after I got out of the hospital and all that stuff.
And
they're all volunteers. It's all volunteer medics in Matsu.
Yeah.
So there are some professional staff, but it's not like APD. It's a volunteer staff, and a lot of them have very highly trained. It's just they were volunteers.
Was that the Willow staff?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly which people it were. I didn't know any of them. And then they put me in an ambulance to warm me back up again. I should have been dead. I was that cold. But I was pretty fit, and I was the drunk asshole as a hypothermic patient.
Was this when the incident happened? What time of the day was it?
12:10, because I just looked at my watch.
Okay, in November.
Yep.
So daylight,
it was still
dark
pretty,
by 6, probably?
Yeah, it was still pretty bright. It was high noon.
Did they get you out of there by dark?
Yeah, I was even in Anchorage before dark.
Oh, okay.
So they were going to drive me to Matsu, and after I told them what I did and what I was broken and had paralyzed, I did a pretty good self-assessment. I had my crew touch me and feel me everywhere, and I knew I broke my back. I didn't know if I broke my neck. I just knew I was paralyzed.
Yeah.
A lot of people with neck injuries can still move their arms, so paralysis is like going gray. You have lots of different shades of paralysis. I got some gray in my beard. You got some gray in your beard.
Yeah,
we both have gray in our beard, but we're not the same. So So I didn't know how badly I was hurt, but I saw then they decided to fly me to Anchorage. I took a medevac to Anchorage, and that's when we did the MRIs, and I said, you guys should put me under quick. So I got to see those. So, but I was never really unconscious. I'm sure at the ambulance they probably gave me morphine. I was probably high from that point on, but that's about what I remember. Then they woke up 5 days later. So,
wow,
intensive care.
Sit for a month intensive care.
Yeah, pretty close. Then I got shifted down to Craig Hospital in Denver, and that was a really amazing rehab center, and spent a few months down there. Luckily, I have a lot of ski friends all over the world, and Denver is a big hub for skiing, so people are always flying in and out. So I had friends to bring me ski movies on DVD or video, or when I got more rehab, they brought me barley soda on a regular basis.
Sweet.
The nursing staff just knew them as soda, but I'm sure they knew what was going on. So I had friends at in Fort Collins, Colorado Springs at the Air Force Base that came and visited me once in a while. So, again, I've traveled a lot and had ski friends all over the world, and that support structure was amazing. I had someone to visit me 4 out of 7 days a week for 5 months.
She had to come check in on you.
Yeah, and
well loved.
my ex-wife at that point spent a lot of time in her hospital, so I'm happy about that. I mean, that didn't work out, but whatever.
She was there for you when it mattered, right?
Yeah, I felt that way. But yeah, I mean, I had ski friends every day, which is pretty
great.
cool. I mean, I had a lot of ski friends. So I would randomly have people I known for 20 years, people I only known online on the ski. Back then, we didn't have Facebook. We had forums.
Yeah.
I mean, the Alaska Outdoors forum is still running hard.
Yeah,
But that kind of thing was happening for the ski world, and it's still out there, but it's not as active as Facebook is these days.
Yeah.
I mean, I had 3 posts and 2 pictures on Facebook in 5 years before I got hurt. So it was a super active user.
Yeah.
I started using social media to tell people how I was doing because I felt really bad about texting 100 people a day.
Yeah.
And they probably shouldn't have given me my phone back because I was on drugs.
Yeah.
But I just cut and pasted the same text to everyone, the same email. And then someone said, hey, why don't you post on Facebook how you're doing? I'm like, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Can let people know.
So you're a super positive person that has just this lust for life. Like we all see it, and for helping people and just living every day. How did that affect you, with your injury? And did you lose that for a little bit and then it come back, or?
Yes and no. So nobody ever until I got farther into rehab told me life could be fun again. And I now spend a lot of my time talking to my doctor friends. Hey, if you have any patients, let me know. I will tell them life can be fun again. It may not be as good as my life. It may not. Everyone's injury is different. I mean, everyone has different situations and connections and support networks. But life can be fun again. Nobody told me that. That would have been a huge help to know that. I mean, I knew people could sit ski because I'd seen skid skiing, even though I used to volunteer at Challenge Alaska occasionally. But I helped out special needs people. I volunteered at Special Olympics. I helped out special needs people. I'd never really helped out physically disabled people. So I knew it existed, but that's about the extent of my knowledge. So I spent some time telling people that life can be fun again. But again, I was a diabetic. When I got sick when I was 18, I lost like 55 pounds and spent a long time in the hospital then. And my doctors for most of my younger life told me, hey, you shouldn't do that. You can die. And I kept doing those fun things. I mean, I climbed mountains, went hunting. I mean, multi-day. I lived in field camps for 14 years. I mean, that's months away from medical care.
Right.
Months away. It's days away from first aid. I mean, I had a lot of first aid training just because of that kind of stuff. But I figured out how to live. I didn't die. And I got to the point where I was doing bigger and bigger adventure trips, and they kept saying you might die. And I told some of my doctors, hey, fuck off. I'm not going to die. And I didn't die.
Yeah.
I mean, I've learned how to keep insulin in a pouch around my neck so it didn't freeze. I mean, all kinds of stuff. So I think learning how to be obstinate and super sort of, I won't call it dumb, but I mean, I just did all the things out of sheer stubbornness.
Yeah.
Helped me with paralysis because I had the mindset I could still do it.
Yeah.
Did you have like a set goal during that recovery? Like, I want to ski again. Arctic Man was the goal?
Yep. And a buddy of mine, his name is Paul Thacker. He's a pro snow machiner.
He's paralyzed.
Yeah, he and I broke our back the same day, and we ended up in the same rehab hospital. So we kind of fed off each other and worked our asses off to do stuff. He's way more of a superhero than I am because he worked with Monster and Polaris and
he was wild, man.
He has he had girls in bikinis coming to the hospital on a regular basis at that point. I mean, he's married now. He's settled down. So but back then it was like, wow. And I knew him as that guy. And I was like, and they're coming to Denver with that stuff. I mean, they brought a Monster energy drink refrigerator to his hotel room. To his hospital room. And nice looking women would stock it every week.
Wow.
And they'd give them to anyone in the hospital that wanted them.
He was the man, dude. A pioneer. He'd roll in there and just every hot chick in that place was.
Yeah, but I mean, and also he left. He checked himself out of the hospital before he was done with hospital, and went to go be an announcer at X Games in Aspen. And then he came back to the hospital, finished his rehab.
I think he went back to racing too.
He's done X Games a few times. I mean, he's still
and doing his thing.
Pretty badass guy. I mean, super nice guy. But he got married last summer, and I mean, he's still doing all the fun things, and he's helping lots of people. But we both were super crazy in the outdoors world. Most other people weren't, and they didn't have a lot of other patients like us, so we got to feed off each other a lot, and that helped the rehab.
You guys are probably pretty popular there, I bet.
We both got called back to do talking at the center. So But yeah, I mean, having a positive attitude is helpful. And he wanted to go do snow machining again. I wanted to do Arctic Man. And I mean, he's done Arctic Man where he's pulled people before since he got hurt. Yeah, and Arctic Man didn't work out so well for me. It took me a couple of years to get back to skiing again and be healthy enough, and then actually learn how to ski again, and then another year to learn how to ski fast again. And then I crashed and ate shit at 80 miles an hour. So,
did you have any setbacks because of that crash?
That was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I'm next month going to go in for my 7th knee surgery because of that.
Oh, wow.
The first doctor in Fairbanks kind of screwed me over, and if you've ever seen people with a rod in their thigh, they put it into your femur.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't pound it in far enough. It was at my knee joint still, grinding away my cartilage. Oh. And then the screws holding the rod in place were like almost an inch too long, and they were, as the swelling went down, they started to poke through my skin.
Oh, man.
So it was not a super pleasant thing, and there's not really anyone in Alaska that prosecutes malpractice suits. So I'm going to show the pictures of this, and then I'll go back to the
let's
pictures.
see that.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
I got to go back to screen share. But yeah, I had the goal to ski again, and that goal was Arctic Man. You have to have a goal, and whether that's to get up and go to the bathroom, or get up and physically make it to the shower, or sit up in bed every day, you have to have a goal. And I mean, in every part of life, you have to have a goal. It may not be to make $1 million, but you have to know that when the alarm goes off, I'm getting up every day.
Yeah.
And when I was almost dead because of diabetes, and then almost dead because of paralysis, I mean, you're not in ICU if you're in good shape. So I'm grateful for every day I wake up. So it's still a big deal to wake up and have fun.
Yeah.
And I make good food, and I get to go have adventures, and that's how I talk to Jack.
Was Arctic Man a goal before, or was that something that
I had helped out at Arctic Man before. I had been a forerunner, and then I've also waxed skis for many years there. I mean, I used to make a lot of money waxing skis there. So my ski career is I work in the sales for Rosignol skis, and then for Toko Ski Wax, and then Function Wear is like kind of a net gator company, all super green company out of Colorado. But yeah, I waxed skis and made sure people had fast skis at Arctic Man, and I got a percentage of the winnings, and I made a lot of money every year because I had people that skied fast, and my skis went really fast.
Did they do Arctic Man last year? No, they didn't, right? Is it back this year?
It is sometimes here, sometimes not here. Howie is getting to the point where he can retire again. He's retired from DOT 20 years ago, but he's an older guy. And he maybe running the race itself is not a thing. So he hasn't done the race in like 5 years.
Well, and, they made it so it was the same weekend as Tailgate.
Tailgate was much after Arctic Man. It was Tailgate is a different type of event.
Right. Also, I just mean I want to say in the last 5 years, they hold it on the same weekend.
Well, Tailgate does that on purpose.
Right.
Because
so Arctic Man has always been tax day. Always.
Okay.
And it's a screw the man type of thing. It's always been over tax day weekend.
Oh, really? That's always. Why it's that time?
But you're right. When Tailgate came back, it was the same time as Arctic Man.
Yeah, and
I don't know if that's changed since then.
I think they did that on purpose to spread the load out, right?
Well,
Arctic Man was never really overloaded. There's so much space there.
I think it was like a cultural difference, if that makes sense.
It does. It does.
And so the people that started Tailgate wanted it a different weekend. It's like the snowboard crew, like Renegade style,
Yeah. No, it's
the man, but I mean, they're already fucking the man with the tax thing. So
yeah,
it's a Alaska lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's they separated. But I remember when they first came back in like 2010, it was the same weekend because I remember, going with my brother to Tailgate, and we're like, where are we going to go? And they went over there, and they ended up meeting us at Tailgate because it was packed.
And Tailgate used to start the same weekend Arctic Man ended, so they were not.
That's right.
They were
That's
not overlapping for a long time.
Yeah.
But there's a knee joint with a rod sticking into the knee, and the screws are kind of long. You might notice.
Oh yeah.
And then, I broke my femur into 3 pieces.
Damn.
So this video, I can send it to you. It made Instagram last week.
So we're looking at the people that are listening. We're looking at the X-rays of Ira's broken femur.
Yeah, this is So this video was taken by a guy I worked with at DNR because it's a DNR land use permit, and you straight line down the tit, and the tit is almost 55 degrees down.
Holy shit!
And then it's a big screen, and then I hit.
Shit, dude.
And then I'm wearing spandex, and I'm continuing to slide. I ended up sitting upright, cross-legged, except my knee was outside of where I cross-legged should be. My knee was over here, so that's a bad spot for your knee to be. Yeah. So I was under enough adrenaline and knew enough medical knowledge to know that was really bad, and that I should straighten my leg out before the adrenaline wears off because it's really going to hurt. And I have feeling down to my knees, and that's about where it ends. It really hurt. And then when I moved it, it hurt even worse. But I was sitting cross-legs here, and I straightened my leg out and then slid backwards.
Play that again.
Did you have some
You had a duct tape to your arm there?
So the outriggers, you have to drop the outriggers to hold on to the water ski tow rope. So I didn't want them to fall off.
You're bouncing so hard, man.
Yeah.
Oh, there it goes.
You're bouncing like
Yeah.
crazy.
So that
you were still gaining speed. Like you were still.
That is the uphill shot taken by a coworker. I will give this to you guys. You can play the commentary. The commentary is awesome by the other people here.
Oh, really?
We could probably turn it up.
What's that video?
This is take the downhill shot.
Oh shit! Dude.
Oh my goodness!
And then again, I'm wearing spandex, so I continue to slide. But I tumbled, and I'm wearing full motocross armor. I had a neck collar. You saw the pads on my other side.
Yeah.
I'm wearing full MX armor underneath this thing. I knew the hazards of this, but I was hoping it wouldn't end up that way.
I was wondering, like, did you have any weird? I don't want to say weird, but like a flashback. I mean, you went through something very traumatic with the tree and paralyzing you. Did this, like, you felt unbelievable pain. You have experienced something so traumatic. Like when you did that, was it like deja vu? Was it like some like what did that feel like?
Not really. I mean, I'm a super calm person in the face of adversity. Like bad people, bad animals, bad things. I was very calm and collected. Okay, tuck and roll. Like,
oh, okay. You could think you were like.
I lost one outrigger, which ripped out the duct tape, but I did the chest thing.
Okay, that's why you were rolling the way you were.
Yeah, but my first thing is I broke out of my ski, then I broke out of my bucket, all the straps on that, and the next thing I hit feet first into my chest. That's when I broke my femur, I'm sure. Oh. And then I tumbled 6 more times. I counted them. I saw the snow go by my face. I'd never hit my face in the snow. It was not a very pleasant experience. And
no, it didn't look like it.
Feel things grinding away. But I had no joint injury. So the doctor screwed me over and cut my knee apart and didn't reattach things. So that x-ray was taken when I was going to have my staples removed 10 days later. So I'd been on the knee bending machine. That bends your knee and keeps it flexible, grinding away at my cartilage with all that stuff on my knee. Because, the doctor didn't do his thing. Yeah. And there's no one to take the malpractice suits, and I've been bad-mouthing this doctor for several years. Turns out his son has the same name as him, is also an orthopedic surgeon, so I've been bad-mouthing the wrong doctor.
Oh man.
But,
that's his dad's fault.
Family choice. So,
what was the time space between the tree accident and your goal to make this
5 years, right?
This was 2014, and I got hurt in 2010. It took me this long to be capable of doing this. I mean, I was confident I was going to ski the next year, and my bones weren't healed, so I didn't even get. And that's another hard part in the mental side. All the fun things I used to do, I physically couldn't. I was still healing.
Yeah.
I also didn't have the sports equipment for over a year. Like I didn't have a bicycle, cross country ski, or an alpine ski for over a year after injury. But I was also still healing, so I couldn't do them even if I didn't have the toys.
And you were getting impatient. You were probably like, I'm ready to get out there.
I was a little stir crazy. And then I was going through kind of a painful divorce at the same time and all that kind of stuff. So, so I was maybe drinking a lot. It was not a good time in my life.
Mentally injured too.
I lost my relationship. I lost my ability to do things. I just still had a job, luckily. I had health insurance, but I just wasn't able to, and I didn't see a future for it. I wasn't like suicidal or anything. I was just not in a good place.
Yeah, you naturally are going to go to a dark place because things just aren't going your way right at that moment. It wasn't like
the bottom, there's no end to it, but it just, at that point, it was pretty sucky. Like, it was a point in my life, not a period of my life. So
yeah.
So after this injury here at Arctic Man, did you set yourself a new goal?
Not really. I mean, I still have things I want to do. I mean, I was hunting and fishing. I have a little skiff to take out for shrimp and for salmon. I wanted to get healthy enough to do that stuff again.
Just be active again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I still am doing things like I've climbed my little butt pad. You guys are on the second story up here. We don't have an elevator, so I scooted my ass up the stairs. I have a strap-on butt pad. So I've used...
Oh, is that what that is out here?
Yeah.
Okay.
You missed my jokes earlier, but well.
I was hoping the hot dog man over here.
But yeah, I mean, I've scooted up pyramids in Mexico, or I mean, you climb stairs. The world's not accessible. So if I want to go scuba diving, I dive too. So like I would scoot downstairs to stuff, and yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things you gotta do, but I got to get up and down stairs. So yeah, I mean, I've just done a lot of the fun things, so it's a way I get around.
Like, how many days did you ski this year?
I still can't get over that one strap.
The one strap on the...
The one strap and one nipple
on the
showing?
mountain man.
So, well, no, the strap is like off to the side.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
The mountain men of Alaska.
So, well, as we're looking for this scuba diving picture, I was...
Picture's making me feel a certain
in
way.
Mr. May, Alaska. I thought I was asked to do this by a coworker whose husband had to back out because of his professional obligations. It wouldn't allow him to take these kind of pictures.
Perfect.
He didn't know he had these kind of obligations until his boss told him so. So then she said, hey, the Mountain Men of Alaska needs a new model. Would you be in the calendar? And I'm like, I can do Mountain Men stuff. I literally thought it was Mountain Men stuff, like cabins and trapping and wearing wool coats and stuff. And like a calendar of Mountain Men stuff. And then she laughed at me and said, you should really look at their website before you agree to this. So, yeah, I'm manly enough. I can handle bearing some skin.
Dude, you look great, though, man.
I think we might need to propose getting Jack somewhere on that.
So
thing.
this
all
is
these pictures of him.
I will play this.
Oh, you got a video?
It was raining and snowing at that
You're
time.
eating raw shrimp?
It was raining and snowing during the photo shoot. Photoshop makes it look very nice
Is
weather.
that like is that like shrimp opener time?
Oh,
This is end of May. This is Blackstone Glacier. The day before was beautiful and sunny. That was on a Saturday. Sunday was raining and snowing.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You just clutched it.
The commentary and the music
So
is
hot.
classic. So I'll text these to you guys. You can
He's
get
like, yeah, fistful.
Yeah. Look at that guy.
And if you guys have ever been out to Blackstone Glacier, it's beautiful. There's huge
gorgeous.
waterfalls.
That's Seward right there, right? Out of Seward?
No, Whittier.
No.
Oh, Whittier.
So
Whittier.
first
Oh,
bay,
what am I
first
thinking
bay
of?
on the right.
There's
out of
a
the decision.
huge
Kind of barely.
Kittiwake rookery out there, and it's got like a 1,500-foot waterfall right there. And the glacier's big and it calves, and it's a pretty epic place, and it's close.
Big kayak destination.
I like they put the glacier in the bag for skill.
But Photoshop makes it look like nice weather.
Yeah, look at the Photoshop.
There's
Made it all a
no
nice day.
rain or snow on that picture. So.
It's like blue skies. That's good.
But I was going for the scuba picture. So.
Just a big sexy photo.
Yeah, I mean, I can scuba dive in caves and stuff like that. So.
Wow, look at that, man.
Oh,
So do you have some sort of like fins on your...
There's this company called Dark Fin, and does anyone here like whitewater paddle at all?
Yeah.
So it's made out in North Carolina or somewhere down the south. It's a latex glove with frog fins.
Oh.
And it's made so when you drop your paddle off a waterfall, you can swim back to your paddle.
Yes, okay.
So you see those guys that chuck their paddle?
Yeah.
A lot of those guys use web gloves to paddle back to their paddle to pick it up again. And if you flip, you can still roll.
Yep. You can generate the force.
Yeah. I have too much weight in my top and not enough in my legs, so I don't have all my core muscles, so I can't roll anymore. So I gave up on whitewater paddling. But they've now a lot of people have been using them for scuba diving. So it's just webbed gloves. And I don't paddle with my feet anymore, which is too bad. But I've got to go out. This is in Cabo San Lucas. There's a national marine park out there that's got all kinds of cool
Shipwreck. Oh, look at that bait
So
ball.
those fish are about 2 feet long, 8 inches tall, and 1 inch thick.
Are those
They're
jacks? What are
yeah,
those?
jack crevalles.
Yeah.
Look at the ball of them.
And
Oh,
Hammerheads.
hammerheads.
So hammerheads like ravens. They hunt in packs, and they also hang out and nest up. These are all going back to wherever their roosting spot is.
Look at all
That's
that.
pretty
That's
cool.
a picture of how many there? 80?
A lot more than that.
How tall
just
were
in that
How
little
long
picture.
were they? Like the big 18-footers or the short
No,
ones?
hammerheads are like 6 to 12 feet. I mean, they're probably 6 to 8 footers ish.
Okay.
Hammerheads are not big sharks, but they're aggressive, and there's lots of them. They're like the piranha.
They're in groups. You never
they're not
see one by
piranhas,
themselves, but
yeah, they hunt in a pack. So
beautiful.
Have you ever gone in any of those beard competitions?
I got second place at the one at the Ferrandi.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I
that's a
don't
big deal.
have the genetics to get the big one. 'Cause if my beard gets like 6 inches longer, this looks ugly.
It's
I look
like scraggly
I
looking.
look homeless if I get 6 inches longer. So some of those guys can grow an epic beard.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
my beard, I've always had like a short beard, but I never had an epic beard.
I always feel like it's the curl of the mustache that kind of, or the pointiness of.
Like
Has a lot
this
to do
this
with
was
the
my
look.
Facebook picture for a
No,
lot
like
of years.
the-
I had a
whatever you
short
do
beard.
here.
Yeah.
And, I
short.
dumped 5 gallons of shrimp over my face. So, I have my PPE on, my Grendons and my glasses on, important stuff.
Yeah.
PPE's, but that's like a number 3 on the buzzer type of thing.
I don't think I've ever seen you without a Rosignol hat on.
Yeah. Is that one of your sponsors? One of your main?
I work for Rosignol Ski Company, but also they are also a sponsor of my Team Gimp Squad project. And Team Gimp Squad is how I help other people. And that's kind of my way of inspiring and promoting activity outside through sport. So I told you I make beard products.
Yep.
The beard products fund my project. I mean, people have randomly donated money
Can
to
I
me.
throw down on that funding? I mean,
Yeah, I can get
got
you
a
some
beard.
beard product.
Yeah.
So Rooster Skier beards, which the website's currently locked down because I have sold out of everything, so I need to make more. But I've been doing that. I bought 12 set skis for the Anchorage School District, so kids with disabilities can get out and play on the snow during the PE programs.
Yeah.
And wheelchairs suck
man.
in snow. They really suck in snow. So kids, and most of the schools in town have a PE program that involves cross country skiing.
Yep.
I mean, usually middle school and high school, not really. The elementary schools sometimes do, but
It's getting bigger in elementary school.
yeah, but sit skiing, you really need to have gone through puberty so you can propel yourself.
Oh,
With your
sit
arms.
skiing. Sit skiing.
Usually, little kids they have twiggy arms.
Yeah. that's
get it
true.
on the strength. Yeah.
It's my beard products and various other things I've done public speaking engagements here or there that funds that kind of outreach work.
Nice.
So I still pay taxes on that business, but so much of that my profits go to nonprofit like medical things.
So it offsets
It's
on
almost
taxes.
all deductible.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I think I paid $200 in taxes one year, and I made a lot of money. But I spent all that either on the business or buying medical gear.
Yeah. That's
So
cool.
I will probably never become a nonprofit because I have to have a board, and they may not like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
yeah.
But who knows? Maybe it'll become a nonprofit someday. But it's a way I can help other people because I've received a lot of help as a guy in a wheelchair, and I have a lot of really good connections in the outdoors world.
So how can our listeners support you?
On my website, which is teamgimpsquad.com, GIMP, I'm a gimp. I make fun of it. I rock it. I mean, I'm in a wheelchair.
Yeah, you do.
But I have a YouTube not YouTube. PayPal. PayPal link. But I only really solicit donations when I'm working on a project to fund. So I need to talk to the Mat-Su and the Fairbanks school districts to see how many disabled kids they have, to see how many I need to buy for the next go around of this. I've got enough for Anchorage, I think. So when I have a project to fund, I'll probably start promoting that and start trying to fund it again.
Sweet.
Do you have merchandise or anything on your website? Like hoodies or hats?
That's one of those things that I only work as hard as I need to because I have other jobs.
Yeah, I understand.
So when I thought about doing a GoFundMe to get all the commercial equipment to make this stuff commercially, and then I can rent a warehouse and do all that, and that'd be really cool. And when I start making millions, I'll pay myself a salary.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm volunteering my time to make this work, and I pay a couple of friends, have high school kids, and they help me out on packaging and labeling. And
yeah. Well, we'd love to support it and promote it.
Roosterskierbeards.com is, and my business license is roosterskier.com. So that's where I package all my ski industry stuff. And anything I do that I have to pay taxes on is packaged under that. So it's weird. Not many people have sports manufacturing as one of the business items and cosmetics. That's another business.
Ira Edwards does.
But I used to be a biologist. My hands were always getting cracked, getting in and out of the water, and you get cracked skin.
Oh, dried out.
So I started making carpenter balm 25 years ago, and I've always had some type of a beard. So I started putting some tree products in it that are good for your fur as well. But it's mostly a skin product.
Yeah.
Because your hair grows out of your skin. So if you take care, my philosophy is you take care of the skin, your hair will be better.
Yeah.
Some of the other beard companies out in the world are just for hair or just styling products, or really don't have things that help your skin out or make your skin dry out more. Like
they make it worse.
Coconut oil is in a lot of hair products, and it's involved in some of my stuff, but it will really dry your skin out. You need some other oils to keep it together and help it absorb into your skin, but just by itself, coconut oil really dries you out. And a lot of things out there are just coconut oil. So it smells good and all that, but it's not good for you. Same like soaps.
And it makes a mess of your cell phone.
Yeah, there's that too.
Talk to your phone and pull your phone away. You're like, it's all greased up.
I like smelling like Hawaii. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no.
Hawaiian Tropic, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They make a good SPF 50 spray on sun lotion. So
Yeah.
waterproof too.
There you go.
It smells like
Is
coconut.
Do you rock a
safe?
different wheelchair in the winter?
I use knobby tires most of the time. So I have some skinny tires I use in offices. I use Schwalbe Racing Ralphs. They're like the fastest rolling tires in the market. They're just commercial bike racing tires. But I use the same chair.
It's like Terry Tate in the office. He's like the office linebacker, just running you down.
Yeah.
So everyone asks me if I use studs in the winter.
Yeah.
But I have always worked in a building with either carpets or stone floors, and I live in a house with wood floors, so studs are not a good option.
Yeah.
It gives us some character.
Yeah, I would hope that my floors last a while.
What's the floors going to be in the new house?
I have this stuff called LVP, luxury vinyl planking, and it's super durable, waterproof. So as I roll mud and snow into the house, it melts. It won't warp the floors. I have wood floors in my current house, which I have to mop immediately after I roll into the house because I have floor mats. I roll circles around the floor mats, and that gets most of the snow off of, and then I have to then take a mop and mop every day, which sucks. Now I have in-floor heating, and I'm going to buy one of those robot vacuums like a Roomba or an iRobot or something and let it scrub the floors for me.
There you go. Yeah.
Hopefully.
So you're moving out to the valley, and we're gonna miss you out there, but we'll come see you, and I'm sure you'll be in the cidery a lot. And then we'll see you on the maybe Deep End Cider. For sure, you'll be out on the boat, but it might be called the Deep End Cider.
That's a great name.
To get some halibut and a bunch of other fish. What other adventures and hunts and whatever do you got planned that you're going to be able to do this year? What are you going to do?
I'm going to be pretty busy with a new house and figuring out a garden and all that stuff. I'm going next week. I'm going to Santa Cruz, California to go surfing. I'm going to pick up an adaptive surfboard and relearn how to surf, I hope, which hopefully will lead into the boar tide.
Yeah. I'll go out and do that with you.
I have kayaked the boar tide. I don't have a kayak anymore, but back then the SUPs were just getting started.
Yep.
That was 10 years ago. And so hopefully we can make that work. I mean, I'm going to have to buy another dry suit, but we'll see. And then I'm immediately taking some more time off to go to Sea Loft to go set netting.
Okay.
One of the dog mushers down there, Dean Osmar, has always let us drive down his personal beach to drive there, and he's a friend, so it's not a public beach at all. But it saves me and I guess a guy in a wheelchair from getting stuck on the sandy beach where everyone else beaches on Sea Loft.
Nice.
And he's got a gravelly beach. It's got some sand, so it's hard to get around in a wheelchair, but gravel is much better than sand in a wheelchair.
Yep.
And we also give all of our heads. We had a group of 14 families, so it's I don't know this year for sure, but we usually have a group of 14 families, and they're all ski people, and we give all of our heads to them. And he runs dogs still, so that's a lot of dog head. That's a lot of fish heads. And that stuff's like they freeze it, and it's like rock candy snacks for the
Yeah.
And then I'm hoping to do a camping trip in Denali, which
In the park?
that's still to be determined. There's a lot of things you can get access to with a wheelchair that normal people can't get access to. So I'm hoping to make that work again. The whole COVID thing, the National Park Service is not running under full capacity right now. So I will hopefully find out. If not, I'll just go camping somewhere else up there. Do that. And then hunting season starts in August.
Yep.
And then,
You're going for Boo again?
yeah,
Okay.
if I can get a moose out of Delta, that would be super nice. I got some friends with a farm up there, but
Okay.
I got to get something, so I'm going to go for caribou.
Yeah,
so,
and Nelchina or subsistence.
I did not get. I will never apply to the Nelchina subsistence again because there's too many regulations that you can't hunt anywhere else in Alaska.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I've applied for the drawing tag and didn't get that this year, but we'll do the 40-mile herd again.
Okay.
There you go.
And 40-mile herd this spring was still 3 animals. So I'm 100% sure there's still going to be 2 animals this fall. So it'll be good hunting.
Yeah,
so.
good
Yeah,
numbers.
that'd be awesome.
It was there. It was a madhouse. You hear about all the horror stories. It was that bad last year.
I heard it was just
It's
bombs over
crazy.
Baghdad.
But
yeah.
at the same time, there were that many animals.
Right. And you're hunting the tailored side?
Yeah, we went down in chicken. I went up to, I just gotten my side-by-side last year and took it for a spin out in Kinnick River and tested it out and made sure it worked. Just got it. And we did a scouting trip on the 9th because the season opens on the 10th up on the Steese Highway and on the 40-mile herd. And that's where the caribou were on August 10th. And did like 90 miles a day before, scouted everywhere, found a couple good places to go. I'm crossing a ditch 100 yards from our camp. Broke a tie rod. I mean, we kicked my wheel straight so I could wheel back and down into the campsite. And, of course, everything because of COVID, there's no parts anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So I ordered some aftermarket parts and got them later and then took it out the next 2 weeks later, Labor Day weekend on chicken.
Okay. And they had already moved that far?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you caribou are not in one place for any time ever.
Oh, it's crazy. That's just a long ways to go.
150 miles, but the herd was in between them. So the tail end of the herd was on the Steese. The front end of the herd got to the Taylor 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
My friend that has cerebral palsy, her husband's family has a cabin out there, so that made it super easy.
Oh, great.
But yeah, she, I think I mentioned this earlier, but yeah, my friend who has cerebral palsy got her first caribou ever.
Yeah, you did.
So
yeah.
cool.
Which is pretty awesome. I mean, I was stoked because she got one, and I was stoked because I got some, and her husband got one too. So we were all stoked.
Yeah.
That's rad.
Was that the picture?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, that was a picture you showed there.
Guns in the middle.
The guns in the middle was part of the trip.
There was a dog and
So my dog got hunting. She's never been duck hunting with me because she's a Chesapeake retriever that doesn't like to retrieve. And she's kind of weird about guns, but she was okay with the rifle. She just doesn't like shotguns. And I've taken her to the range since she's been a puppy. But she won't retrieve. And if anyone, she's my 4th Chesapeake, and Chesapeakes are always stubborn assholes. She is above and beyond. She's gone that far above and beyond. So she's challenged me every day. She's still sweet like 2% of the time. I don't threaten to bury her every day, but she went hunting for the first time and she had a fun time. She sniffed the dead animal. She slept on the gun rack, and she ate. Hunting is pretty.
great
You got
photo.
rainbow with the caribou in the back.
Nice
Full
rack in
rainbow,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
My wheelchair stuck in the back too.
And that's the trail.
That's great, man. Yeah.
That's the trail out of chicken, not
You got
Jack
mud,
Wade.
you got
or-
mud flaps on that sucker?
Dude,
Dude's
I
got
was
some
scraping.
rock-
I was
got rock
scraping mud
tamers.
off to get to the gas tank.
Oh yeah.
Then she got one, but
Oh,
yeah,
good for her.
So
Oh,
this
man,
is 3 cows we got at the
pile
same
up.
time. This left cow is that much bigger than the others. It was bigger than my bull. So
Oh,
I got
that is a big body.
I
Look
got-
at that thing.
I got that one and my bull, and she was that much bigger than she was bigger than my bull. And then we hung them up in a tree and cut them up. We used a winch from the 4-wheeler to winch them up into the tree, kind of like a gym pole. And then my dog is here eating scraps. She's like, "This is the best thing ever. I get to sniff the dead animals." She sniffed the butts of all the dead animals.
Yeah.
And then she ate their guts. So,
Good for her.
or the meat scraps.
Was full primal.
Brooks Ranger won't even walk within 20 feet. She's stalked so many caribou with me, but
This is
Once you cut them open, she wants nothing to do
no.
with it.
When it's dead, she just is like, no, I'm not going near that black bear. Don't matter what it
But
is.
this is
Yeah.
5 caribou hanging. It was a good day. Or a good couple
Yeah.
days.
And then-
Yeah.
So you guys were going out of the
That's a
cabin.
nice one.
Yeah. The cabin was like 2 miles from 3 miles from the trailhead.
Okay.
And then we were driving 25 miles back.
Cool.
So the new Can-Am Defender side-by-side, I had the 6-wheeler version, is a pretty badass machine.
Is that a 1000?
Yeah. I have been in lots of machines. It rolls over everything that like doesn't exist. Also, a Polaris 6-wheeler broke down with a moose and a caribou in the back, and I towed him like 25 miles out of the woods.
Wow.
At 12 miles an hour, getting 15 miles a gallon. This thing gets better payload and has as good a mileage as my pickup truck.
That's
Yeah, those Can-Ams are bad.
I have a 1500 Chevy. This does as much payload and has 100 pounds more in the bed than my truck can hold.
I'll
wow.
be down. You got a big trailer to haul that thing too?
Yeah, I got
Big car hauler style?
No, it's a snow machine trailer.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, this is on a pretty steep slope. It'll climb everything.
They give you some of that moose?
Yeah, I got a couple backstrap pieces.
Hell
and
yeah.
I mean, they were screwed. Their chain broke, which it's a solid shaft stuff, but it turns a chain.
Yeah.
And the chain broke. So
Done.
Classic problem with the Polarises.
And their
And it was an
fans
older
too.
6x6, so it wasn't a new one. The newer ones are better. So
Okay. Oh, this is a 6x6 Ranger?
yeah.
Oh, so that thing, those are like 1,800 pounds too, or maybe more.
I towed it out at
2,000.
12 miles an hour, 15 miles a gallon.
Just cruising.
This thing was a beast.
Yeah.
Defender 1000.
Yeah.
The suspension is why I got it, because I've ridden the Outlanders, like the 4-wheelers,
Yeah.
and those things are great, and they're not tippy because
That's what I have.
They're stable.
But the side by side, I got the 5-point racing harnesses so I can hold myself up. Because as a paralyzed guy, I don't have all my core muscles. So
Yeah, I want that
It makes
6-wheeler
Does
Outlander.
it make you slouch?
the regular
kinda?
one.
Is that what it does?
no, I'm like strapped in like you can't believe.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Without them, it makes you kind of like slouch
but
down.
I'm stuck.
You
in
got the
there.
5-point harness.
yeah, it pulls
there,
you back.
I'm going down a 50-degree downslope, and I can drive down a 50-degree downslope without having to worry about flipping, because it's got a longer wheelbase, so it's stable.
It looks like a little pickup truck.
Yeah, this,
look at
this is
that.
a
That's a
trip
long
out in Jim
base.
Creek at the Kinnick Glacier.
Looks like you can get it, man. It's a bad boy.
There's some mud bogs out there, and I had a big enough crew. We tried to get it stuck.
Couldn't.
It didn't. There was mud flowing over my doors. I was wet from like the belly button down with thick mud, like pancake batter mud. Didn't get stuck.
Wow.
Just crawled through.
Yeah, I was surprised. And these are not the mud tires; these are just the general stock tires. But I had 6 other 6-wheelers, winches, and ropes.
Yeah.
They're getting
And
it
they all
back
had
one way or
35-inch tires, and I have 27-inch tires. So they barely made it through, and mine just plowed through.
That's
So
cool.
I'm pretty
So,
stoked.
I think after harvest season, we should maybe all get together and come up with some, meats that we can make up. Ira's getting after it. He's super inspired, and maybe have like one of these charcuterie plates from each of us.
Yeah.
I can
And
totally
do
walk you
this
through all
again.
that stuff because I have mic grinder and sausage stuffer and all that. I mean, I do all that stuff. So.
Well, we've been hosting a game meat party that I think is going to come back after this last year.
Yeah, this
Definitely.
next
Yeah,
spring.
one hiatus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. One time I got photobombed at the bottom of the ocean. Some lady was free diving. She gave us the rabbit.
Oh, in the
fingers.
back. Oh, I see her. I see her.
That is awesome.
We took a group photo in like 50 feet of water, and she free dived down with a big rock. And
Oh, that's hilarious.
photobombed us.
That's awesome.
Great for her. Well, Ira, I mean, what an amazing story. Man, you got so much stuff going on. It's crazy.
I
Nothing
sleep
short of
sometimes.
interesting. Yeah.
I sleep sometimes.
You
Maybe
sleep
not enough.
sometimes.
Yeah.
You're an inspiring cat, man. And
No doubt.
we're blessed to know you, man. Thanks for doing what you do.
Yeah, hopefully this will keep people who have other issues in their life inspired to go do stuff because you can still do it. So
Yeah. And
sometimes a little harder, but you can still do it.
And the
Yeah.
people that don't, you're doing more shit than most people that can do everything.
Absolutely.
It's fucking awesome.
I find that weird because I didn't have social media before. I do a lot less than I used to do.
Yeah.
You're making some damn good meats that you probably weren't making before, but
Sometimes, but, I still did.
when your dog doesn't steal them.
Dude, she's got no ribs right now. I was grinding burgers a month and a half ago. She ate 15 pounds of burger meat
So she's all chunked out.
while we were making patties. She took one of the other tubs that was in the garage full of like half frozen meat and chowed down, ate it all. And she didn't get sick and she didn't puke it out. She didn't shit it out. She just
soaked it.
straight to her belly.
She's like, Daddy, I need something to make it through winter here.
Oh, my
This was in
goodness.
April. So I finally only got around to grinding burger in April. So.
Oh, that's great. Well, Ira, thanks for coming out. Thanks for sharing your story. If people want to see some of these pictures that he has, the Instagram is Rooster Skier. Tell us what the website is again.
For my overall Team Gimp Squad project that I help people with is teamgimpsquad.com. And then that I also have roosterskierbeards.com. The website's still there. It's just zero product availability. I'll be making more pretty soon. But I had a big craft fair at the state fair that I sold everything out of.
Okay.
Yeah. it's
Right
awesome.
on.
Yeah.
Right on.
And his Instagram is
Rooster Skier.
Rooster Skier.
Rooster Skier.
I post on Twitter sometimes. I used to post a lot more, but that's Rooster_Skier.
Okay. That's right. It was the Twitter one.
It was great to have you, man.
Yeah. I've been enjoying listening to the podcast. It keeps me occupied at work.
You lived up to the hype Jack was building up since when we put this podcast together, he mentioned you really early on as a guest. Yeah, he's like the most interesting man in the world. And I'm like, what? And he showed us.
I used to only be the most interesting man in Alaska, but now I've spread.
Yeah. And you're a mountain model too. I mean, that's next level.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny as I said that, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "Well, the Chive picked him," and he's like, "Oh, now there's cred." You know? I was like, "What? My word's not good enough?"
No, it was just you were always on the forefront of our guest list, and a few months have passed, and he brought you back up, and we were, hey, we got
you finally got some cred,
Ira
so people might listen to me now. So
yeah, I'm actually glad you came when you did. Not to discredit any of our other guests prior, but we've gotten better and more organized and more comfortable on the mics and better with our guests. Like this warm up to this recording was awesome. We actually had
could have had
together.
a podcast before the podcast.
Yeah, we could have. I mean, just sitting and eating dinner tonight, we could have.
Yeah.
We were having such great conversation, but we learned that you have that kind of that warm up moment with your guest, and eases everything up, and then the conversation is more organic and real. And you were everything we expected, if not more, as far as your footprint on Alaska and what you've done and what you represent and what you do for people here and disabled folks. And you are an inspiration, and thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yeah,
You're
well,
an
thanks for
amazing guy.
having me. I mean, I plan to keep on doing things in the community and still having fun. I mean, you got to do the Alaska stuff. You can't stop living. So
Yeah, we'd like to too. We want to have guests on again in a later day. We'd love to have you come on in a bit and give us an update on your Gimp Squad project and see how that's going. Maybe recap some of your stuff. You got your Santa Cruz surfing thing you're doing, man. It'd be really cool to know something about that. So
hopefully hopefully I don't drown,
just bring those fin deals on your hands, man.
You bring those to wear. Cause basically it's a sit down surfboard. It's made for normal people. It's called a wave ski.
Okay.
It's for you guys to surf super tight barrels. And it just happens that it's a sit down surfboard. So it works for people that can't stand up.
Yeah.
And you have a seatbelt strap yourself in. You use a kayak paddle. So you could just surf the tight barrels. Or for me, I could just surf again, maybe.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping works out. So,
Sweet.
and if I don't flip over and drown, I'll be okay.
Okay. Let's go post up on Beluga Point, and me and Ira go do the boar tide. You guys, you guys talk with Tangy. And
I'll bring the camera and film you guys.
Ira will make it. I'll fall on my ass.
Bird points. I'm gonna have two paddles.
I'll drink beer.
It's a kayak, but I think Bird Point's where everyone hooks up to.
Bird Point. Oh, yeah.
But Beluga's a ways out there.
Yeah. Well, we'll catch it early.
We'll pick a big one. Ride all the way to 20 miles.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, or I'll fall off and you'll ride all the way, and I'll walk it. Everybody will see me walking on the highway. Yeah. But we should do that. That'd be fun.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Either that or let's hook up and do something cool together.
Yeah. Well, fishing's in the works.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Ira, thank you. Rooster Skier, Alaska. Stay positive and keep a positive mindset and get after it.
You'll remember my speaking to you of what I call your overcautiousness. Are you not overcautious when you assume that you cannot do what the enemy is constantly doing?
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
The Bait Shack, located on Ship Creek upstream of the bridge. Can't miss the bright red shack. They are the go-to fishing gear rental and guide service on Ship Creek. Tight lines and fish on. Come hook into the action with them. Hit them up at thebaitshackak.com.
Lawn Pro AK, your year-round professional property maintenance company, providing services such as weekly lawn maintenance, driveway sweeping, snow and ice management, and tons more. Get your free estimate today at lawnproak.com.
Anchortown Dogs, located at 4th Avenue across from the old 4th Avenue Theater. Look for the blue and gold umbrella. From reindeer dogs to bomb euros, they've got you covered. Anchortown Dogs, your local gourmet hot dog and sausage cart.
Menegato's Accounting, locally owned and operated advisory and tax accounting solutions. Passion, experience, diligence. Learn more at menegatosaccounting.com.
Double Shovel Cider Company, located off Arctic and 58th. Handcrafted Alaskan-made cider. They also have a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Check them out at doubleshovelcider.com.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has their new tequila bar. Check it out. Also see their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska, built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation. Find their products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more at the Treehouse Ak and other dispensaries around the state. Ask your local bud tender about AKO.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway. Your all-in-one cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives.
Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.